Have you not realised? Why do you look confused?
Hello, everybody. Have we been live?
We're live now.
Because I can't hear. My headphones aren't. Oh, man. This is a disaster.
We're live at the moment.
Hang on.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
We'll
change over to these. Right.
I can almost hear Ryan throw up at that intro. Yes. Do you know, genuinely, this is actually true. I find that intro so cringy that I don't actually watch it.
Tough luck.
I was busy reading the comments on the video I just posted while I was listening to it, so that I know, because I know when the 30 seconds is coming to an end. But yes, I know you love the intro for some reason,
and the people do as well. I would say
the people have spoken, have they?
I have. Hello, everybody. I don't know what happened. My headphones were connected and they disconnected, so I've got to go back to these bad boys. Hello and welcome to the Prestige Reef Dork show, where I am Alex, of course, Reef Dork, and with me, as always, is Ryan from prestigereef.co.uk, the UK's #1 coral selling website. Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. I'm not even going to comment anymore. I'm not even going to comment. I'm just going to agree with you because then you'll stop.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Fish God really wants to say hi to you.
Doesn't he just? Hi, Fish God. How you doing? Very modest name, Fish God. You're obviously a good fish keeper. I'm glad to see the professionalism is getting better. Yeah.
True. Well, that's what you've come to. We like to give what you expect, basically.
Exactly. And it's just hang on one second.
You're all over the place today, aren't you? I mean, I don't want to point it out, but this is awkward even for me.
The only thing that makes, so I want this to be professional and just get straight into it, but the only thing that makes me feel better is anytime I watch any channel, really, even some of the really, really big channels, they go through these same issues. And it's just the way life is. But anyway.
That's what happens when I'm, talking to an amateur, eh?
It'll be all right on the night. It's loud.
I don't think you're loud.
But so this is the other thing. I can't monitor audio properly, so I can't hear I can hear you fine. I can hear me fine, but I can't hear what other people hear.
Oh well, you sound fine to me. And if it's too loud for anyone, there's a button on your TV.
Yeah,
and you just press the down button and like the down volume, and then that should help.
We're just going to crack on basically. So I think
what would you like to talk about?
Tonight we're going to be talking about there's this guy I know who's not very good at reef keeping.
He's handsome though, isn't he?
Not really, no. I'm afraid not.
Oh, no. Are you talking about yourself? Because you said not very good at reefing and not handsome.
I'll let the people decide. Is this a handsome man? Do we know? Is that...
I knew that picture was going to come up. I mean, to be fair, I did send it to you for this specific purpose. I just didn't expect it to come up this quickly. That is going to be my new Tinder profile. So,
lock up your daughters.
It looks like I'm in a glass coffin.
Well, you kind of are. Was that you in the tank? No, that was in the cabinet.
Tank. No, that's in the tank. That is actually. You see behind me? That's glass.
Crystal clear. That's why I didn't. Yeah. And is that glass there?
That's glass, yeah.
That's mental.
And you're even more crazy. That's not the clearest side. I can't say for sure, but I think the front panel, it appears, I've not actually looked into this, so I could be wrong. The front panel is actually much, much clearer than the two sides. The two sides are very clear, but the front one's like the clearest. So the one you just saw is the one that's not the clearest.
That's funny. I wonder if they've gone for the expensive front panel and cheaper side panels. Anyway, right. So we're talking tonight about your new tank. Basically, you've got a Waterbox LX 270.5, 6.6, sorry, which is 6 feet long, 2.5 feet front to back, and 2 feet tall.
Correct. I would love to know what that 0.6 means.
It's 6 feet.
Oh, is that what it means?
All of that. So I have the Frag 55.2, which is 55 gallons and 2 feet.
Oh.
And the LX, you get the 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. So.
Oh, I see. I didn't know that. I was just like, it's a really long name because the official name is the Waterbox Aquariums, because people miss off the aquariums bit. Reef LX 270.6.
Yeah. And 270 is 270 gallons.
Yes, which is quite a mouthful. So,
although as with all tanks, no matter who makes them, they'll say it's 270. It'll be about 220 or something. So my water box frag 55 gallon is about 40 gallons.
Well, I like to be blissfully unaware. Don't tell me this.
And my Peninsula 500 Red Sea tank is 500 litres on paper, but it's actually about between 400 and 450. I didn't measure it properly. All tanks, they're never, because if you calculate the actual volume, if you put in the dimensions of the internal, if you brimmed everything, the sump and the main tank, that would be the true volume. So that's why they base it on that. But the reality is you've got an inch at the top and you've got 6 inches at the top of your sump. So
that's true. That's true.
But that kind of matters, because when you're looking for a fish, a lot of people people often say, like if a fish is rated as a minimum of 50 gallons, people will be like, well, my tank's 50 gallons. And it's like, well, two things. One, it's probably just because the manufacturer says it's 50 gallons, that doesn't mean it holds 50 gallons of water. It's probably 40 gallons. And it's not the total system volume that is referencing. If a guide says they need 50 gallons of water, it means the display tank needs to be 50 gallons. But you'll always persuade yourself. You'll be like, yeah, but I've got a 30 gallon, it's almost 50. And
True. Well,
but anyway,
there's one thing that I need to say. As you know, as a YouTuber, we're required to say this, before we talk about things that are. I'm only doing this at first. I've done it in today's video, the one I just put out, and I'm going to do it in the next one because people don't know. But as YouTubers, if we are sponsored by a company, we are required to tell you. And Waterbox sponsored this build. They liked the idea of the angelfish build, and they said, we'll give you the tank. So they did. So you can take whatever I say today as factually correct. Pardon?
Ignore him, basically.
Ignore me. No, you can take it as factually correct or not factually, or you might think I'm just saying it for the sake of saying it to keep people happy. But the reality is, if you look back at my channel over the last 8 or 10 months, I've mentioned, even on this before, that I want one of these tanks probably 10 times.
So we've talked about this before on videos and behind the scenes as well.
Yes, we have. Yes.
There was one, I can't remember what we were talking about, but we're both talking about Red Sea and Waterbox, and there's nothing wrong with Red Sea. I love my Red Sea tank, but we both said if we had to choose, we'd prefer a Waterbox.
That's correct,
and it's like 51% over Red Sea. But
I think. Oh well, look, we'll go into it. I'm basically going to see what you want to talk about, basically. So
there are lots of questions. Basically, we're just going to talk about tank because it's setting up a new tank. I certainly think, anyway, is extraordinarily exciting. And someone did say, ask if I'm setting up a new tank. And it's not me setting up a new tank. It's Prestige Reef.
So Ian has just asked a very, very important question. Have you got any requirements from Waterbox about product reviews? I do not. So I do have an agreement with Waterbox. I have to make at least one video a month. Not about their tank.
How long for?
Just for a year. So it doesn't have to be about their tank. It's about the project. So the only thing that I'm required to do is I have to have the name of the tank in the title. And then I think in like October they've asked for just some support with, I think it's October. When you have that like Black Friday event, they have a Blue Friday or something.
Yeah.
And they've asked if I can share that. That's it.
Okay.
So they haven't given me any
Instagram?
Guidance. Pardon?
Instagram?
Oh yeah. Obviously, I have to post a specific number on Instagram as well. But again, it's just going to be. It's not like this is amazing tank. It's literally this is my angelfish in my water box.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Have you ever been asked to post something positive by any company? Not naming any company, but anyone to say you're required to post positive? Or
I don't even think they're allowed to do that, are they? I haven't.
Well, it doesn't mean they wouldn't ask.
I've never been asked to do that. Just trying to think.
So I haven't either. I got asked. The one thing that I got sent. Someone asked me if I wanted to look at some. It was something. It was a tiny little thing. It was activated carbon or something.
Yeah.
And they told me I had to post 10 times about it. I'm like, you want me to post 10 times about activated carbon?
Yeah.
It's like, it's weird, and that's just like, that just feels a bit shoehorned. But no one's ever asked me to say things positively. I think really the issue with that is that it's kind of, because if you're a nice person, someone does something nice to you, you kind of feel like
you feel obliged.
Exactly. So that's the difference. It's not, you're not contractually obliged, but you're probably morally obliged.
There is that. But the other thing is, I think both of us are sort of like old timer YouTubers now. We have done some of the niceties earlier on, and then later on you start going, actually, I'm going to make what I want to make. And that was what I said at the beginning. I want to be able to do this at my own pace. I don't like one a month is well achievable. Like, I don't want to have to be doing one every week, because then it ruins the experience. And this is meant to be this is my tank. So the coral farm is for everyone else, like, and for a company and things like that. But this is mine. It's actually the fish's tank, really, because the fish will decide what it wants. But yeah, that's I don't want it to be ruined by YouTube. I don't want it to be ruined by maintenance, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, by what I'm doing, because it's crazy. So and James has just said, Waterboard asked the sign on the videos. No, they haven't, basically.
I don't think anyone does that.
No, I don't think.
I've never heard, because YouTubers often say, and I watch YouTube channels for about like cameras and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And they always say, like, Sony, Canon, whatever, they haven't seen this video and all that sort of stuff. I don't think people ask that. I did once get asked to send it to them just to make sure I wasn't making any mistakes, and I did. And I was clear that, look, if you want to change something, tough luck, unless I've made a factual error. But I don't like that. After I did that, I was like, I don't like it. So now I don't at all.
I try and, I don't know, but I'm glad that I don't mind telling people this, because firstly, it shows you that a big company, they're a big company. They think this is going to be a fun project. There is a little bit of pressure that I have to make it work. And it's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is the unknown, and the unknown is what that fish is going to do. Because
this is going to be an angelfish tank, right?
Yes, because obviously, if you don't follow my channel, you won't know this. But what I am doing is I'm creating a tank. I'm getting an angelfish, and I'm going to put coral in the tank to see what the angelfish does and doesn't eat. And then if anything it doesn't eat, obviously, will eventually grow into big colonies. And I'll have a reef tank based around what the fish won't eat. So I won't get to decide. And this isn't skill-based success. This is luck-based success to some extent. So
because this is you've not actually. I just want to answer one last question. Merritt McDowell says, "Why no talk on innovative marine tanks? Do you get them in the UK? If you do, I never see them.
They were a long time ago, I'm sure that they were. I think maybe I seem to remember some really small ones, but I don't know.
Look, I think I've seen on Charterhouse. I think they've got small innovative marines. Yeah, they're all pretty. Oh, actually, no, they've got some bigger ones. No, out of stock.
Why are people saying, did Waterbox ask for pictures of you in a tank top? And someone wrote something about tanks and guns, and it's me doing reviews in a tank top.
That's getting very sexual now, isn't it? I bet they did as well. I bet
it's Les who said that. I can't remember for sure if it was Les, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was.
But yeah, so innovative marine, they're not really a thing over here. I think they sell some small tanks, like you say, but they don't. I've never seen an innovative marine tank in the flesh. I think they're quite big in the States. Although even then, I think they don't do big tanks in the States. Like the 40 gallon, I think that's the one I've seen before on videos on like BRS and stuff. But so the other thing I was going to say on the water box tank, although you're not obliged to say positive things, that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's a nice tank. So it's like
if you got something that's nice, it's easy to be positive about it.
Someone gave you a Ferrari, you're not going to be going, oh, I don't like the sound of the engine.
That's true. About the Ferrari, that's very true. I think I've had 10 people see it, because people moving it and things like that, and they had exactly the same response was my first impression. I'd never seen a tank that big, which is bracelets. So I had 1,000-liter tank before, but it had a brace, and this one is 1,000 liters in total, I think, with the volume, with the sump. So it's not, as you say, I don't know. I need to look into
thereabouts, whatever.
Yeah, but the thickness of the glass and the clarity of the glass, how clear it is what makes it stand out. That, and also for some reason, I don't know why I like this. It's a really weird thing. It has a glass weir box cover, and it just feels quality. So it is what I say. So remember, you can listen to this or not listen to this, but I think you can see by my excitement that when it turned up, I'll be honest. So when it turned up, it came in a box, like a big, like, I'm not sure what it's made of, but it's like
crate, plywood or something, yeah.
And so on the first day, I could only get 3 people here. So I had to move just the stand in the house because it was light enough to move in with 3 people. But I had to leave the tank outside for 2 days, and I was nervous. I didn't sleep for 2 days, not because I thought it would get stolen, because I didn't know if it was broken inside, because I didn't want to open it until I didn't want to like unseal it until I was ready. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So, because obviously with it being outside, I wanted it to be watertight as well, but it didn't rain anyway. So so I didn't sleep because I was worried about if it was broken. And when I opened it, I thought, you can hit this thing with a hammer and it's not going to break. It's got 20 mil thick glass. And if you've not seen 20 mil thick glass, that's the edge.
It's almost an inch, yeah.
Yeah, the base. I think I sent you a picture of both the. Did you put the pictures up that I sent you?
I can bring it up. Yeah, let's have a look.
I sent you one picture. Yeah, that's the base, which if you look at it, it's like double the thickness of.
It's a big old girl, isn't it?
Yeah. And the other thing, did you get the picture that I sent you the other day of the when it's outside still of the glass thickness?
Yeah, but I don't have it on
that's
to hand.
Yeah. So, but I was very impressed, basically.
The one last thing I'll say on all like transparency and all that sort of stuff is, and I won't mention the company and I won't even say what the piece of equipment is, but we don't take stuff that we don't want. So you and I know, because we talked about it, we were offered a piece of equipment that was worth almost £500 this week, and we both said no. Oh, actually, I said, well, look, I'll make a video, but I probably won't keep it.
And I forgot to reply, but I will reply this evening. So, because I think it came in quite late, and if I don't always deal with things immediately, if it's like 11 o'clock at night.
If it's a customer, it's different, isn't it? But if it's someone, But anyway,
So, but that's very true what you said. That is a lot of money to be offered something, but we don't need it. So there's nothing wrong with the product, even. We just don't need it.
It's good.
So
it's unfortunate timing because anyway, whatever. That's it. Because I think it's worth talking about that sort of stuff, because I sometimes feel that YouTubers aren't completely transparent, and even things like something like sort of vaguely transparent. So I just think it's valuable to be completely honest. But we're not here to talk about that sort of stuff. We're here to talk about the tank. Before we do,
member questions.
2 things. One of them is member questions, and the other one is I got a message last week after the from a very important person by the name of Ed from Reef Keeper Moss End.
Okay, yeah.
Which is my local fish shop. I was in there this weekend. I was going to say twice, just once. And I'm just trying to bring up the. Here we go.
They're a very good shop, Moss End, aren't they?
Love it. Really, really good. It's massive.
Yeah.
And they had I got a Blasto today for 20 quid. Yesterday.
Really?
20 quid. A red, yeah, really nice. And it had like two little heads as well. It was wicked. What else? I got this really nice chalice as well, like goldy orangey kind of, and a Monty as well for 40 quid. It was really nice. So yeah, it's quality. I like it. And I take a lot of my frags there. I took 5 frags there yesterday. So yeah, really good. And they're good. They're a good laugh. Anyway, little speech over. I got a message from Ed who runs the place.
Yeah.
And he said he was talking about our we were talking about the skimmers last week and that we clean them out with our fingers.
No. Let's clarify. We were talking about the skimmers and you clean them out with your fingers. I do not clean them out with my fingers.
50% of people did, roughly, from the poll.
Weird. 50% of people are weird.
Yeah, 50% of us are weird. But he told me a story about a guy. There are two reef keepers. There's one near me in Surrey, and there's one, or Berkshire anyway, and there's one in Rugby in the Midlands.
Yeah.
And he told me about a guy called Darren. Hi, Darren, who got skimmer cup all over his arm. Look at that. And
how does that even happen?
Look how happy he is with it.
I imagine that's almost you.
Yeah.
Just with a bit more hair.
That just looks like, a lot more hair. That looks like dog mess. That looks disgusting. That looks like it stinks.
Yeah. Well, how does that even happen?
I don't know.
Because it's on his jumper and everything.
Yeah, no, it's gone. I don't know if it fell off something or whatever, but there we go. I wanted to mention that because I thought it was funny. Right, fish tanks. So the plan with this tank then is, where have you got to so far? You've just got you're not set it up yet. What have you done?
No.
So, did you have to build the stand, or did it all come built?
No, so the stand comes pretty much fully made. You just have to put the doors on.
Okay.
And I had help from Jamie from Jamie's Reef.
Yeah.
I
was thinking it was Polyp Pros. What was that guy called?
Oh no, he came. He was here on yesterday helping, and James will be back. James from Polyp Pros will be back to help plumb the rest of it in. Basically, so we haven't even put the cabinet on. The pictures that you got there were literally taken this afternoon when you said, "Can I have some pictures?" And so that's what it looks like at the moment. And so you can see the tank's not even on. That's because we're going to move the cabinet forward and we're going to drill a hole through the wall into basically the outside. And then we're going to run pipes. It's like dosing line, but like rigid pipe. So it's thin, but hard.
John Guest.
Is that what it's called? I don't know.
The RODI stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So
quarter-inch John Guest tubing. Yeah.
Yes. We're going to run that from the back of my house down to the bottom of the garden. You know, obviously what this is like. Along the back of the garden, up into the roof of the coral farm, across the roof, and then down into a barrel, which I happened to install very cleverly 2.5 years ago, because I wouldn't be able to do it now. It's a 140-litre barrel, and I'm going to use that for water changes. So I'm going to use some sort of dosing pump to basically take the water out, put it down the drain, and then suck it from the fish room and fill it up.
How long is that going to take to do a water change?
Depends how fast I have the pump on.
Because I was looking at this. You talked about that last weekend, and I was like, could I figure out automatic water changes like that in my house? I don't think I can. But I looked at the Ecotech Versa, which is what I have for Kalkwasser.
That's what I was looking at.
I think it does I can't remember what it was, but I worked out it was going to be like an hour to drain 10% of my tank. And I was like,
well, why does it matter? If you don't have to do anything, you just press a button while you're watching TV.
I don't know. I suppose it's fine. I wanted something that would do it in 10 minutes.
It wouldn't even matter if it took 4 hours, as long as I don't have to lift a barrel.
I suppose not. No, that's good. But anyway,
not only am I doing that for water changes, so it will. Someone just read want it to ice up in the winter. Yes, it will probably freeze in the winter. Yes. But it's not a problem because I just won't do a water change on that day, and it doesn't stay cold that often, does it?
Well, so I was talking about this with you last weekend last week, whenever it was, and I was thinking actually there's going to be times when it's probably going to be frosty or close to for weeks at a time. But I guess it's not the end of the world.
Look, the worst that happens is I have to do a manual water change. So
which you won't do.
Not just that, we both know you don't have to go do a water change for a month. If you left it for a month, the chances are probably fine as long as you're dosing.
Yeah.
So even if I didn't do a water change for the entire thing of January,
pipe lagging. That's that insulation stuff. The grey. Yeah.
Well, that I am planning to do something like that, but I'm just not sure what it is. It's a bit less discreet if you do it like that. I thought about putting it in another bigger tube. But it's as I said, I'm not overly worried. I'm also going to have a line for the RO unit coming from the farm.
Oh, really?
So not the RO unit, just the big RO barrel.
Yes. So you can fill up your freshwater reservoir automatically.
Yes. So what I'll do is I'll work out roughly how much it takes out per day, and I know evaporation changes depending on how hot it is or how cold it is. But I'll if let's say, just to make it easy, that it evaporates 100 mils a day, which will be more than that. I'll have it so that it puts 95 mils back every day. So it's slightly less each time, but it's only 5 mils less, and the tank's like 50 liters. So how long is that tank going to be before it gets to the very bottom? If you see what I mean.
As in, so your freshwater reservoir loses a liter per day, and you'd add 900 milliliters into the freshwater reservoir.
Correct. Yes.
Right, I understand. So yeah, and then so your freshwater reservoir will last for weeks on end before you have to.
Before I have to I don't want it to go the other way where it's adding too much and then eventually overflows. I want it to be adding it too little because evaporation changes on a day-to-day basis.
Do you know? So do you know what? I'm going to be getting the Red Sea Auto top off soon, and that tells you in the app how much water you use per day.
Oh yeah. That's almost like someone did a video on that.
Someone did, yeah. Very handsome.
I didn't.
It was me before you mentioned it.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know. I did see. If it was on your main channel, I definitely would have watched it. But it wasn't.
It was on the second
extra, and I've just not subscribed. I don't think.
No. But that's the sort of thing that for most people you don't really care exactly how much you lose, but it's still interesting to know. But for some people, it's really useful. And for me, using calc, it'll be really useful.
Yes, I remember you saying.
I love the idea of, because I want to know. It does fluctuate. I know that, but. And it fluctuates from the seasons. For me, it's more in the winter than it is in the summer. At least I think it is anyway. But I want to know exactly. So it'd be really interesting to see a map over the course of the year. But anyway, it's definitely Queen of Reef is in the house, and she wants a similar water change setup. So Devon from Reef Dudes has got the kind of thing that effectively it's the same as yours. It's just that yours is in your barrels, your containers are in a different room.
Yes, and I did speak. His are in a different room as well. I did speak to Reef Dudes, but he said he doesn't really do water changes anymore. Unless
I saw that today. Yeah.
Oh, did he say it today? Did he? Because
I saw it somewhere. He said he was the first time for months or something like that, which I was surprised.
Yeah, he gave me a very brief message back. He's probably busy, but he did ask a few other things. But it was literally like, I don't really do water changes anymore. I'm like, what? That isn't what I need to know. I need to know if this is going to work.
Yeah. But because I've watched a couple of his videos about the automatic water change, and I still couldn't 100% figure out what. There were a few things that I was like, but how does that work? How does this work? Because when you look at a video like that, you're watching it for your own benefit, so it's impossible to explain everything. So I still had a few questions, but
my biggest concern is if the pumps aren't calibrated correctly. Like exactly, you're going to take more water out, which means if you take too much water out, your auto top-up is going to turn on, and then that will lower your salinity. If you don't take enough water out, it will then increase. No, it won't. No, it won't overflow, but your salinity will change over time. So
because it'll evaporate. It'll evaporate, and the salt will stay behind. You're effectively topping up with salt water that way, aren't you?
Yes, So that was a concern to me. Jamie's Reef said that I don't know if Jamie was here at the start, but Jamie's Reef is one of the people who's helping me do this. Okay. So I don't want to say a big thank you to Jamie. But that is what we're doing. We are actually putting a float valve on as a failsafe. That was James's suggestion. I was like, it'll be fine. And James was like, no, this is what you need to do.
GHL level sensors. You've got a GHL Profilux, right?
Yes, I also have level sensors as well for it because I use it as an auto top-up. I use my GHL.
Yeah, and so like this, I'm interested to ask more about the water change setup because we'll get onto the Angel and all that later. But this is one of the things that I've looked at that I've been like, how does that work then? So if you're doing an auto water change, normally if you do a water change, you pull the water out and then you put the water in, right? So it's separate. But with this, if you were to pull out 100 liters of water or whatever it is, then your return pump's going to go. So you'd have to turn all your flasks. So will you do it? Will you add the new water at the same time as you remove the old water? Or
yes, that's what I'll be doing. But that's what I've always done. Like right from the very beginning, I just thought is if you turn everything off, it's a pain. Sometimes things don't turn back on. Sometimes all of a sudden a snail has moved and now it's buzzing. So I never turn anything off ever on any systems I've ever had ever. and I literally will siphon the water out. And while I'm siphoning the water out, I use exactly the same size pipe and siphon water back in, new water back in, just into different sections of the tank.
Yeah.
So one goes, the water going in will go into the sump, and the water coming out is sucking the sand. So it's like you're getting as far away from each other as possible.
So you're less likely to be removing the water that you're adding in.
Yes, there will definitely be some waste.
Yeah,
but I think
exactly. But
insignificantly small.
This is the Reflow auto water changer that I have. It does that. It pours water in and takes it out, and it's like it must be removing some of the water that you're adding in. And I can't work out the math. My mind starts to melt when I do that. But ultimately, I think if you're doing it that way, even if like if you did a 10% water change and it's actually only effectively an 8%, that's fine.
Well, if you think about it, if you're taking 10% out and you're putting 10% in, the maximum amount it can take out, I'm not very good at maths, would be 10% of the new water in theory. So, no, because would it work like that?
It would be whatever it is. I think that's roughly it. I think you would lose. So I have a 53-litre water changer.
Yeah.
And I reckon it does about a 48-litre water change. So I waste 5 litres of salt water, new salt water, every week.
Yeah.
But that's a small price to pay because it's just so bloody easy. And even on, do you know what? Have you ever, in America, they'll have Brute trash cans.
Yes.
I got a Brute trash can.
Why? How did you get there?
A little baby one. This is
Did you order it, or did you just happen to find one here
on Amazon? No. I thought it was hilarious because everything's small over in the UK because it's a small country, and I've got a tiny little baby Brute trash can. Americans are going to be laughing at me, but no, this is for my 2 tanks up here for water changes because it's convenient size. But I was thinking about doing something with automatic water changes here because it's just so important to keep doing them. I think it is anyway. And if it's difficult, you won't do it. Or you'll be like, I'm not going to do it this weekend. So
for me, this tank is going to be like, I'm in this house now for a period of time. I cannot. When you have this many tanks and a business at your house, it's almost like I'm happy here. I love this house, so I'm not planning to move anywhere. But it's like I can't move easily, if you see what I mean. I have to basically shut the business down. Yeah. And then move the business. And imagine, because normally you get 1 day to move house, don't you?
Yeah.
So imagine moving all your stuff out.
How would you pack that all up in advance? Have you ever moved? I moved a 100-litre tank once, about 50 miles. Yeah. It was the most stressful day of my entire life.
Yeah.
And that's almost not exaggerating. It was so unbelievably stressful. And I had this massive van, not like a Transit, like a big Mercedes Sprinter. And it was full, absolutely full. It was like, it's a 100-litre tank. What the hell?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because I obviously, I used to buy lots of tank breakdowns all the time, like one a month probably I would take for quite a long time, because I would sell off all the equipment and everything, and then I would take all the livestock I wanted, and then it kept building my corals and fish population up. I had literally, when I started the tank, I had literally like hardly any money at all. So I was doing this hobby absolutely on a shoestring. It was 15 years ago. I was 18. So, so I've moved many tanks. Let's put it that way.
But if you were to move your farm, that would be
it would be impossible to move in a day. In fact, it's almost like the only way I could do it would be to buy another house. And then sell this one.
I own 2 houses for a month or whatever. And,
but I don't. I'm not even sure that's possible to do. But it would be very difficult. The water. So they are good. The Brute trash cans. You can get a dolly in the UK. They're £100. I got mine off Amazon. The dolly's £100, and I've got this. It's in this room, which has got carpet. So dollies are no good for me, and I'm not spending £100 on a dolly anyway. And so BRS have done an auto water change with a Neptune DOS. They have. Yeah. But to run a Neptune DOS, you need the Apex. Is that true?
100%. I've asked before.
Is that true? Okay.
Which is, I think, that's such a shame, because with the GHL, you can get a standalone one, can't you?
Yes. Yeah.
And the GHL Maxi Doser. There's a new GHL Maxi Doser.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's the same as a DOS in that it's got 2 heavy duty pumps. I wonder if you can use that for a water change.
Well, I am going to have a Proflux on this tank, so
that might work. But yeah, if you do it, make a really detailed video on it, explaining everything.
All of my videos are really detailed. What are you trying to suggest?
Well, no, that's why I'm saying you should do it, because you're the master. Well, second best anyway.
Well, you got to tell Jamie he's got to be willing to be in one of my videos then, because he's the one helping me do it. So, and Jamie's a bit camera shy. He's always like, no, you can't, don't film me.
Blur his face out.
Blur his face out.
Be like Crime Watch.
That's true. So,
is Alex's face still attached to the photos? Is the big question.
Well, I don't want to tell you because I may have kept it for my own personal use.
Yeah,
it is not.
Weird.
No.
Yeah, they're in his bedroom now.
I did have someone came to the coral farm today, and actually there's two things to mention about that when people come to the coral farm. One of the things is the guy today, he's actually in the chat at the moment, he might still be listening. He said that he wants a coaster of your face with the blonde hair. So I'm now selling those. If anyone wants a blonde Reef Dork coaster, you let me know. I'll sort you out.
You know, I used to be a lawyer, right? It's litigation. Are you aware that's intellectual property copyright infringement?
Not overly worried.
If you want a lawsuit, you're going about it the right way.
Oh, I see. And what was the other thing I want to say? Oh, the other thing that I haven't told you this, but I think is worth telling you this. People who come to the farm all the time, they never go, I love your videos, Ryan. They go, I love watching the weekly live stream. I never realized that people liked it this much.
Yeah.
If I had 3 people today, all independent, all say exactly the same thing. Like, no, not prompted. They just went, oh, I love the live stream.
I've had that a few times as well. I know. Yeah, I think I've had that a few times as well. I've not thought about it. Anyway, so I want to cut back because when there were 2 things I wanted to talk about early. One was the guy with poo on his arm.
Nice. Yeah.
Who said thank you and hello, Darren. I saw your message. I just didn't have time to and the other one was member questions and Instagram questions.
Yes.
So we're going to go to that, and I've done away with the sexy voice.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, because it's just a pain in the arse, and I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you guys like that robot voice? I don't think it went down very well. So
I don't care what they like. I can't understand it. So
if you want it, bring it back.
No, don't.
And actually, that was one other thing. It's the banter, fellas. So I got a comment that YouTube blocked that I tried to approve, but it disappears because that's what happened. And someone said that they feel they were like, oh, I don't like that that Ryan takes the mick out of Alex. It's like, I love that. You can say whatever you want.
What? That's like the highlight of this is like the highlight of my week.
That's like you take the mick out of me as much as you want, and that applies for people watching as well. That's what makes this the stream.
You're going to use this as an emotional abuse case, aren't you?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like every week, look what he does to me.
Yeah.
I think it's important that people know that, and a lot of people know this already. We're actually very good friends. Otherwise, you wouldn't have me back every single week.
Exactly.
But not just that. We often talk for hours, don't we? By like text message, or sometimes we just call each other for a chat. So it's not like you get this not just now, all the time.
Yeah. I get the permanent live stream, Ryan live stream.
Yeah.
No, the voice was not good. Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. Didn't like budget Alexa. No, fair enough. All right. Anyway, so the questions. Member question. There's one member question. And this was, I didn't make a note of who it was from. Can we get a guest live stream with Alex at Ryan's farm? It looks like you Brits have Easter Monday and May the 1st as bank holidays. So do it Sunday before one of those. So we've been diarised, Ryan.
Well, the biggest problem is, and I hate this, I can't get internet into the coral farm. It's too well insulated to get it from the house, and you can get a booster. But for a booster to work, I believe, remember, I'm not like a genius, the booster has to be on the same electrics as whatever the router is on. Now, the electrics for the coral farm is separate to my house.
Couldn't you run a cable so it's hardwired?
Maybe.
Oh, look at that. But I mean, either way, so
one second, Jamie, you know what you're doing with this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
can we add this to the to-do list?
But so my first thought was internet. We won't be able to do it. It'll be difficult. My second thought was it's not a big room. It's not well set up. The lighting would be awful. Would just be blue.
Yes.
I wouldn't. If you live, I mean, in terms of America, you guys travel for miles on end, but you live far enough away from me, 60 odd miles, for it to be logistically quite difficult. It would be quite a lot of work for something that I don't actually think would work very well.
No.
So I like the idea, but I don't think the reality would work.
Like you can, when you run your RODI cable, you can run a route of it to the coral farm. See, that's what I thought after saying. I thought, well, I just add another cable.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
What was I gonna say? The other thing is, it is absolutely boiling in the coral farm. It's like 25 degrees permanently all year round. Sun, like winter or sun, so which is fine. But if you're working in there, you have to be in shorts.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and no one wants to see Alex in shorts.
No, this is very true.
Sorry.
No, whoa.
I know you're fragile, so I don't want to bully you anymore.
Yeah.
So
outrageous. But so nice idea, and thanks for the suggestion. But I don't think it could work practically. I think it'd be too difficult. And then Instagram questions. This first one was from So Reef. What lights will he use? I hear G6s have terrible par. I suspect they don't. But anyway, what lights will you be using?
I will be. Well, actually, I don't know for sure. I have some Ecotech Radions Gen 4s, which were on my 1,000 litre tank previously.
Gen 4?
Yeah. Oh, Gen 4, so old now, aren't they?
God,
you know,
get with the times.
Look, they are perfectly good lights. I'm really happy with them. I'm really happy with the Gen 5.
In 2019.
Like, I'm not someone that needs to have the latest, fanciest thing. I know you're just joking, but
yeah.
Let's put it this way. If anything, it shows how good those lights are that I'm still happy to use them again. So Ryan works in the coral farm in Speedos.
Yeah.
Only sometimes when it gets too hot, it's without Speedos.
Budgie Smudger Coral Farm podcast.
Smuggler, not smudger.
Yeah, smuggler. Have you ever? Do you know what a mankini is?
Yeah, of course. I said yeah, as if I own like 12 of them. Yeah.
There we go. I'll come down and we'll both wear a green mankini.
Yeah.
This is the thing, and this is I bet a backwards reefer. I bet you're American, because 60 miles in the UK. That's not a long way, but it's long enough. But in America, like you'll travel for days, and they go to coral shows halfway across the country. They'll fly, they'll check out in hotels, spend fortune, and in the UK we're like, oh, it's 100 miles away. I'm not going there.
Well, I'm one of those people that flies there for the shows, aren't I?
Well, it's true.
Actually, I just remember saying, Jamie, I need to add something else to the to-do list. The lights, I can't use those. They have to be hung because the tank's so wide. The brackets I've got for them don't. Ooh. You can't have them over enough. They're going to have to be hung.
So the RSM rail, I think hanging lights looks really nice. I've hung my last, I don't know, 4 or 5 lights.
Yeah.
And I don't like the bracket. They're okay, but I think it looks cleaner. But so just going back to the Gen 4 Radiant thing, I think Tidal Gardens, they might have changed, but until recently they used Gen 4 Radions.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with Gen 4 at all. If you were to buy a brand new light today, if you were to set up a new tank and buy secondhand Gen 4 Radions, it will not be the limiting factor in your success. They'd be fantastic still. And
the best tank I ever had, if you obviously take out the coral farm, the best tank I ever run, which you see very, very briefly in my latest video. You know, you've seen the video, haven't you? You see with the Regal Angel, you see it swimming over all the SPS corals. That was with Gen 4s. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with Gen 4s.
Nothing wrong with it. And they do get better. So I would say it's probably fair to say the Gen 5 and 6 are better in inverted commas than the Gen 4, but only because so that maybe they've better spread, these sorts of things. Marginal gains. It's marginal incremental gains. It's not massive differences. But anyway, so you're thinking. So I think you're going to go with Radions. How many Radions will you have? 6 foot tank.
I only have 3 at the moment. I did look at
XR30s.
Yeah, the big ones. Yeah, the 30s. Yeah, and 3 was fine on my other tank. The only thing this one is wider. It's the 30 inch.
2.5 foot. Yeah.
That is wide. So I had them that way, like horizontal.
Yeah.
This doesn't work.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to have 4 of them that way probably for it to work.
You're going SPS, right?
Who knows what I'm going?
Well, you're not going LPS if you've got an angelfisher there.
I'm going to try everything. I'm literally going to try everything. So I look forward. I can always, how sometimes you'll know this. When you make a video, you almost you get an idea of what that video is going to be like very briefly, just like 5 seconds of it before the idea starts to develop. And I just thought to myself, I can imagine starting a video going, today we're going to, well, that's not a good start. It's, hello everyone and welcome back to Prestige Reef. Today we're going to find out if the angelfish likes acans. Spoiler warning, it does.
Yeah.
Because you see how it like, I'm almost certain that some things it will eat.
Yeah.
Look,
but if you're ending up with SPS,
yeah,
that's a lot of, you'll need a lot of light.
But you can have a beautiful SPS tank. Like some SPS tanks are unbelievably amazing. You don't need to have LPS and soft corals. So I don't want an all SPS tank because I basically have done that previously. I'll tell you the reason I'm doing this. The reason I'm doing it is because this will come across as a little bit arrogant. So I don't want it to come across as arrogant.
I'm going to clip this and use it.
Yeah, you're just going to say, this is what he said. This is like, the reality is, if I set that tank up as a reef tank, I'll put coral in it and it will be fine. Like the chances are it'll be fine. Yeah. I feel that I have proven myself with the coral farm.
I've just recorded this. Carry on. Just act natural.
I feel like I've proven my ability, like with the coral farm. So if I got another tank, it's just going to be the same thing. With this, it's not going to be like that. Now,
SPS is just so easy for me.
No, you're so annoying. You know what I'm trying to say. This adds an element of like almost surprise because even I won't know if it's going to work.
Even you.
So annoying. Why are you bullying me? I
want
want someone to comment on this video, like afterwards, saying, "Alex, can you stop bullying Ryan?" Like,
you're the kind of person who would call himself the LeBron James of reefing.
Yes,
so
King Ryan.
Anyway, so sorry, you were just saying how much of a brilliant and experienced reefer you are and how easy it is.
Look, you know what I mean. You have an amazing tank. Yeah.
Oh,
if I said to you, "Here's another tank, improve on your last tank," how are you going to do it?
I wouldn't. I'd do it differently. I
wouldn't put an angelfish in there.
No, I wouldn't. I was thinking. I think about this all the time. I think I'd go LPS. I don't know if I'd go Aquapora again.
But you want
if I want. Sorry,
you want to change, don't you?
Exactly.
You want something
exactly
different.
Right. Yeah. Not because I couldn't do it, because
Yeah. Now I've had a tank for 15 years. I've had a soft coral tank. I've had an LPS tank. I've had an all SPS tank, but I haven't had an angelfish tank, and it's what I really have always wanted.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why. And if you want to like make fun of me because it come across as arrogant, then maybe I just said it in the wrong way.
No, but I know exactly what you mean. And it's the same. Like if you've done something before, you get bored of it.
Yeah.
And even though I love my tank and I love Aquapora, but if I started again, I might do Aquapora, but I really like the idea of an LPS tank. So yeah.
And I like. See, the reason I've had quite a few people comment over the last few months about this, go, "Oh, this would be like quite an exciting thing to watch," because it's almost like you don't really know what's going to happen, and that's me too.
I know exactly what's going to happen.
So someone commented, I just found it just before the live stream started. He just commented, "Oh boy, this is going to be one hell of a ride," and I really think it will be. I know what I'm going to start with, and it's going to be boring. I'm going to start with a piece of Montipora, just to see. I want at least one thing. I want to put it in and just go. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
Because if I go, I'm going to put a torch coral in, and 30 seconds later that torch coral's gone. It'll be soul destroying, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Because of Monty.
Yeah. So,
but that's kind of what I did with this tank. I've taken it really slow, to be fair, but I put like pretty much day one. And I'm of the view that you probably shouldn't put in corals too early, but pretty much day one, I put some GSP in, and you can just about see it. It's there, but anyway, and it's done absolutely fine. It's never sulked, it's never shrunk away. It's been really good. But I did that, and I was like, let's just see how it goes. And then a month or so later, it's like, let's put another one in, and that's probably the way to go, because it's just nice to get something in early, even if you know that it's going to struggle. And with the Monty or whatever, because the problem with a brand new tank, especially that size, is going to be you'll have no nutrients.
Yeah.
Because you only have half a dozen fish.
Sorry. I dose nutrients on the coral farm, so
okay. Will you dose straight from day one? Will you dose nitrate?
No, actually, no. I can't remember. I had no fish on day one. It was just corals. I can't really remember what I did, but I dose nitrate now to keep it up, because otherwise if I don't dose it, it like bottoms out. So
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. Do you know what will happen? We'll put Tropic Thunder in. The angelfish will eat it, but it grows so fast. It's full. It doesn't touch anything else.
Yeah.
But
so, and the stocking list was someone asked, I can't see the question now. Oh, here we go. What's your stock list? You've not really worked that out yet, have you?
No. So I do tell people to plan, and when they're playing for a new tank. But that's often when they're like new beginner people, so who they're not really sure what they want yet. So
not when they're not someone as good as you.
That's so annoying. I know, yes, not someone as good as me. So I kind of do know what I will have, but I don't want to say, oh yeah, I'm only going to do this, because then if I change it, it's like I'm accountable for like I'll go, I only want 2 tangs in there, and people will go, I thought you're only getting 2 tangs, and now there's 30. So you see what I mean?
Yeah. But I would guess you'll have tangs in there.
I would definitely have tangs.
You like a group of tangs, don't you?
Yeah, I have every so often I think to myself, I'd love to have like 30 Antheas in there, but I don't want a lid. I don't want to have a lid on that tank.
Yeah.
Because it looks so nice.
Yeah. Were you trying to go no lid then?
I will try and go no lid, yeah.
Don't say that. Don't listen to him, everybody. He's crazy.
But I will choose fish that don't jump.
Can I tell you a secret?
What? Okay, go on then.
My water box. Don't tell anyone. If you're watching at home, don't listen to this bit. It's just turn it down. All right. My water box frag 55.2 hasn't got a lid, and it hasn't had a lid. I have one, but I've not had it on the tank for a year, maybe more. Yeah. Well, at first when I took it off, before I got one, I had 3 what are the blue damsels called? Springer damsels.
Yeah.
And a fox face and a coal tang. The fox face died, unfortunately. Didn't jump out, but he died.
Yeah.
And they were all fine. But then one day, the Springer's damsels, I added 2 together, then 1 later, which was a mistake. Yeah. And the 2 didn't like the new one. And I got back one day and I found he jumped out.
Yeah.
So the Springer, but since then, they've not jumped. And I'm not saying you will have the same story. There are some fish, gobies, blennies, clownfish, hawkfish, antheas, that are a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
But others, it's a bit more of a, and I'm genuinely not encouraging this because it's not necessarily a good idea. But there are some fish that are less likely to jump, I think.
Of course, like I've never had a tang jump out of a tank, but I have had a wrasse jump.
You had. Oh, wrasses are a bloody nightmare. They're guaranteed. What, you had a fish that
oh god, I know what you're about. I know what you're about
one
to say.
Tank to another tank.
It looks so bad.
Was it a copper band?
No, it wasn't. It was the regal angelfish.
Oh, really?
But that was exceptional circumstances because it was in a very like shallow tank because they're in the coral trap.
Right.
I think that when you have sand in a tank, it stops some things from jumping. And when look, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think so. I have a choice. Look, I have lids on all of the coral farm tanks, and they cost hundreds of pounds to have them made. So I've definitely done it properly in there. But for this, would I choose not to have fish that will jump so that I don't have to have one? Yeah, probably. But there might be one. I saw you said mandarins do notorious for. I won't get a mandarin.
No, because this guy asked. He said he's mandarin and pipefish. Apparently, and I've no experience, but apparently pipefish and horsefish,
seahorses,
seahorses don't jump.
Yeah,
but mandarins absolutely, they're one of the worst. And although I don't have a lid on one of my tanks, and I think that's a relatively safe bet, still not guaranteed. Yeah. This tank, I do have a lid on because I've got 2 clownfish and a goby, and they are notorious jumpers. And my tank downstairs, I got a lid on that is on there 100% of the time because 90% of my fish would jump.
Yeah, because you have a load of rats,
and do all the time. They regularly splash. I hear them, pisses me off. So
see, I don't really like wrasse that much. I'm not a wrasse man. No, I just.
Have you seen how fast mandarins go when they do it? Like when they just go. They can move that when they have to.
I think, look, the only possible fish that I might again, this might change, but I would probably have a Melanaris wrasse in there, and just I might have to see.
That's gonna jump.
I had no lid on my tank on my other 1,000-liter tank for years, probably like 7 years. I had no lid, and I didn't have jumpers, so it did have something that sat on top of it though.
Right.
I noticed that they jump when you're nearby. It's almost like you're the one that's normally you find a fish, you hear it or you find it, don't you? And it's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost like they know.
Yeah.
But you hear this noise.
Yeah.
That's the noise, and you're like, "What's going on?"
I've even had I had one of my wrasses jump out whilst I had the cover off for maintenance, and my yellow silver belly or yellow wrasse, whichever it was, jumped out and landed behind my tank. Took me 10 minutes to get him because he was in a corner that I just couldn't reach, and eventually I got him covered in dust. Put him back in the tank. He just sank to the bottom, so I picked him up, held him by the power head. So water flows over his gills. That's what you're supposed to do. And he came back to life. He was not back to life, but he was all right. He lived, and he's still there to this day. They
can be sort of very they're quite hardy fish sometimes. Sometimes they can be hardy.
Yeah.
Especially eels can survive out of tanks for a lot. They can be like crusty, and you put them back in the tank, and then they come back to life. Eels can survive a long time out of water.
I came back from work one day and found this was my first ever tank, and I'd only had it a couple of weeks, didn't have a cover. I found one of my clownfish on my carpet. I got a cover after that, but I was like,
was it alive?
It was alive, and it was like, he's either been there for 30 seconds and it's a coincidence, or it could easily have been 10 minutes, and he was fine. I went back in the tank and he was fine.
I swear they know. He probably heard you come in the front door and went, time to jump.
Yeah.
But so
I also found about 6 months after I shut that tank down, I found a crab behind my sofa. Just a dead crab,
because that's across the room.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Someone's asked what I'm drinking. San Miguel. Anyway, you were about to go back to stuff.
Oh yeah, so going back to the stocking list. So corals, I have an idea that SPS will probably be okay, or some SPS will be okay. LPS will almost definitely not be okay, although I do wonder about things like Galaxia and things like that might, because they're a bit unfriendly looking at eat. I don't think they'll sting it. I just think I might put an anemone in there, because I've seen anemones in with angelfish loads of times.
Okay.
They don't seem to eat them for some reason. There's a massive anemone at SeaWorld in Australia in a tank filled with it's got all the possible fish you can think of, butterflies and tangs, and it's even got like black tip reef sharks in that tank, and it's fine, and nothing's eating them. It does have clownfish living in it, and I almost wonder if they're defending it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have, as I said, like a couple of times recently, I'm in a very privileged position because it's like I have a luxury. I don't want to waste this. I can do what most people can't do, in that they can take a coral out, put it in their tank, and then put it back if it's no good. Most people can't do that. So if you get bite marks in the corals you buy off the website, I have no idea where they came from.
Yeah. Send them back.
They're actually worth more money, because that's like a fish signature.
Okay.
I think so. Going back to the fish, I will have minimal wrasse, because as I say, I don't want that. I'm not overly fussed about clownfish.
Okay.
I will have definitely 2 tangs. I'm going to take them from the farm. I'm going to put my gem tang in there, and I'm going to put my yellow tang, because they live together. So I think they've got a nice contrast in colors.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And even now I don't know what angelfish I'm going to put in there. So the angelfish you showed a minute ago is an annularis, which is that's at the moment is the top of the list. That is the.
Where did you get that photo from, by the way? That's a really cool photo.
Just Google.
Okay.
The reason I sent you that photo is because I thought I want you to use that one.
I'll pull up a rubbish one. Yeah.
Yes, because you're like, this rubbish brown fish he wants.
Actually, that's a good idea. Let's just I'll sort that out.
I mean, you can find another one, but so my story. The reason I've always wanted an annularis. So I put a lot of effort when I first started into selecting what fish I wanted, and at first I wanted a fish only tank. So I had my plan of like fish only that I was going to have. So, and the annularis is the smallest of the large angelfish. It's like they're Pomacanthus angels.
Yeah.
That's the smallest of all of them. And because back then I was doing my research, it was like, well, I've got a small, like not a massive tank, so I'll get the smallest fish. And I ordered one from a shop, and it arrived at the shop, and the box it had come in was with a courier, and the box had been put on its side, and every fish in the entire box died except the annularis. And I went to the shop, and it was there that day, and the owner said, look, you might want to, like, all the other fish died, you might want to leave it. And unfortunately, a day later, it did die. But it was almost like I saw it. I was like, wow, this is what I want.
Right.
And I could never have it.
Yeah.
Because after that, I didn't go fish only. So it's the one that got away from me. So that's why it's the top of the list.
And you said you said if this goes pear-shaped and it eats all your corals, you might end up binning it off. But I feel like you're going to give it a red hot crack, as the Aussie say.
Oh no, really. I will definitely. Yeah. So, like, remember, Waterbox were like, we're interested in this project because of what you're doing. So you can't go, oh, by the way, I've changed my mind. I'm doing something completely different.
Yeah.
So I
put it on eBay.
God, could you imagine?
And just make a video every week going, hey, I sold this tank on eBay.
I mean,
I bought a Red Sea one now.
No. I will probably give it, like, look, there's going to be a cycling phase, and there's going to be a couple of months where you don't really have any corals in it, probably. I'm not going to rush this. And then, so I'm probably be looking at about 8 months to a year before I would consider swapping it out. But I don't want to say that for sure, because if after 5 months I'm like, I literally hate this tank so much because I can't keep anything, and I'm just looking at this one fish, which eats corals, and angelfish are notoriously aggressive as well. They're very aggressive angelfish. Most people don't know this because they don't have them, but they're like mean.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I didn't realize that.
One of the angelfish, which is the meanest fish I ever had, was a cream angel. It was so mean.
You've mentioned that before. It's a nice fish as well. It's a shame.
They are. I mean, they're not a particularly interesting color, but they've got a nice pattern on them, the cream angels.
I've just had an idea. What we're going to do is I'm going to pose a question, and then whatever the most popular answer is, I'm going to ask what people think you should have as a fish.
Yeah.
And whatever the most popular answer is, you have to do it.
Sure. I'll pretend to agree to that.
No, well, you've agreed to it. So, what fish do you want Ryan to get? Angelfish. It can be angelfish. It can be a butterfly. Someone asked about butterfly. Any angel, particularly angelfish, give him ideas, because he will listen, and he will.
Oh yeah, look, I'm more than interested in hearing other people, because in that video, I wonder if you when I was making that video, I thought what you might think. Were there fish in the video I put out that you hadn't seen before? Like some, because there were so many angelfish, I realized when I looked through all my footage of angelfish, because I've collected that over the last 7 years. I was like, there's so many. I'm thinking of one. And if you're thinking of a large angel, you think of an emperor, a queen, a blueface, a majestic, and what was the other one? And a regal. They're sort of the 5 you think of. Okay. But there's like cream angels and multibars, and like there's
Genicanthus.
Yeah, rock beauties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so many other ones. And when I was making it, there was one that even I took a video of it. I didn't even know what it was. And you know what's interesting? You can hear myself in the background, because obviously when I film it, I'm talking, but then when I take the sound off for the video.
Yeah. And
when I played that, I said, I played it with the sound off at first, and I was like, that's a bit of an ugly angelfish. And then in the video, I'm like, wow, I've never seen one of these before. That's such a beautiful fish.
Taste change.
It's the very last angelfish, I think. It's the second last. It's like an all black one. It's the second last clip in that video, and I think it might be a velvet angelfish. Let me just Google that quickly. Just to see.
Tony Marshes says his flame angel is a tusser.
Oh, I have a feeling that there's going to be plenty of those.
No, but he loves him. So, There are suggestions coming in. Then let's have a look and see what we've got. So first off, Annularis angel is the first fish I saw at an NFS with long streamers 15 years ago now, and I'm addicted to reefing. Blueface angel. You up for a blueface? Is that the French angel?
No, blue faces are French angels are something different, but blue faces are one of the ones that are semi-reef safe. They're like considered one of the more reef safe ones. They're the ones
too
with
easy
the blue face.
Not enough. Yeah, shut up. Oh, I know these guys. In fact, I have a video. Oh, there's no point showing. Yeah, they're cool. Okay. What else was what other suggestions were there? Queen angel.
I don't like the queens. Queens, the coloration between queen angels is so different. Like they're all classified as queens, but you know how if you get an emperor angel, it looks like an emperor angel. Queen angels are such different colors.
Oh, we've looked at these before. I'm not a fan of these. Let me bring up the picture. Yeah,
these kind of ones. Yeah, so that looks like a nice queen angel, like where it's sort of like rainbow and shimmery. But if you look at some of the other ones, they're more like yellow.
That one's quite yellow, isn't he? Oh, that's quite cool.
No, I don't. Queens are not for me. I don't want an emperor. They're too common emperors. I want something that I actually like Clarion angels, but not because they're really expensive, just because they're sort of rarer. Clarions were like $4,000, I'm sure, when I first saw them. I don't know. I've not seen one in years.
Clarion. Oh yeah, let me share that.
I like the juvenile Clarions, but the adults are boring.
That's a juvie, and this is an adult, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I don't really
red. Orange.
Yeah, not a big fan of that.
No.
I actually quite like passer angelfish.
Okay.
Only the juvenile passer angelfish I like.
The AH123 Rock says Catodonna plus septentrionalis. What's that? I don't use common names.
Just because even I don't know what that is.
Clever to me. Tell me the common name. I don't know what that is.
I like the blue stripe. Blue stripe and annularis, I think, would be a great pair to go together because they're the same color, but it's almost like someone stretched out the annularis's like lines. So that's great.
I think the blue stripe's a bit boring. Let me pull that up. There you go.
Yeah, but if you have one of those and an annularis, they look cool.
They'll kill each other, but you know.
Look, it's the same as like tangs might kill each other. Conspics, I think conspics are a bit boring.
We have a winner. 50 grand peppermint angel.
Oh no, I didn't even want to mention that. As I said in the video, I wanted a bandit angel. I quite like
2 votes. Oh no, mate, I'm afraid.
Well, it looks like that's what I got to do.
Sorry. Yeah, I hate that. Yeah. I'm adding my vote in as well.
Pomacanthus, is it Navacharis? I think that's a majestic.
What's the common name, you smart ass?
I think that's majestic. I think. Can you find out if that is a majestic?
Pomacanthus Navachus.
So is it? I was right.
I like, so clever. I like.
I'm not as good as my angelfish as I am with my coral.
Yeah. I like these guys. I like them. I think they're cool.
Yeah. Again, I want something that you don't see all the time. You see these and you see blue faces and regals. No, not peppermint. Okay, I'll do you a deal. If you pay for it, I'll have it.
No, that's not the deal. You're a rich coral farmer. Purple moon,
I wish.
Angelfish. You ever seen a purple moon?
Yes, I think a purple moon might have been in that video. Yeah.
Don't think I've seen one of those.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of them.
As the bandit angel is what I like, but again, they're ridiculously expensive. But I would.
Bandits are so cool. Yeah, you said that in your video. I'd love a bandit, but I think that they're Hawaiian, aren't they? So I don't know if there's any captive bred one. Blue striped is the one with the scientific name.
Is it Jerich81? He says he's not a fan of angels in an aquarium. You can't keep them properly in a tank since they're meant to eat coral. Well, you might be in luck with my latest videos because that's the plan.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Conspic. Oh, they're good. Yeah,
no, they're like just brown.
That's a bastard. I've got a feeling conspics are expensive, aren't they?
They are. I'm sure they're like $2,000 or $3,000 or something.
Yeah, and this Abbas has. They're cool. Abbas has expensive taste, don't you?
But they're just brown.
That's not brown.
What color is that then? It's not like
grey and black with a yellow.
Oh, well,
the face is yellow.
Yeah, grey and okay. Go to the very first picture. Go to the very first picture on the page.
No, I don't want to.
It was brown. That was the second picture, actually.
Lemon peel. Oh, yeah, it's a dwarf there. You want the big ones, don't you?
No, I am going to get a dwarf as well.
Ooh,
I'm going to have.
Mindy's an angel, lol. So you'll have a dwarf
only sometimes.
Yeah. Which dwarf would you go for?
For some reason, I said this in the video, and I'm not even sure why, but I've just kind of fancied a little tiny cherub angel, just like nipping in and out the rocks. But I have had a golden angel, which I loved having a golden angel, because you didn't see it. I will have a Swiss Guard basslet or some sort of basslet. You know, you
candy
like
basslet.
the peppermint. No, not a pen, not
£2,000 candy basslet. It'll go well. It'll look really good with next to your peppermint.
It will look even better with like on the floor.
Yeah. Oh, imagine that. Oh, because they would actually. That's the point. Your basslet will jump. That's a jumping candidate.
Oh, that's true. Oh, so maybe I'm gonna have to get a net. Oh.
You probably will. Yeah.
I probably will end up getting one. Actually, I won't even see it because the tank's really tall. I didn't realize this. The waterbox tanks are so tall.
Because the stand is quite tall.
Yes, right? The stand's really tall.
How tall is it? My stand is a meter tall, just over 3 feet, 3'3".
It's probably the same, but the tank's obviously 2 feet on top of that. Yeah,
massive. And that's the thing. That's the one thing with my tank that I actually don't. I kind of like it, but I don't really like it. The tank is 3-4 inches taller, 4 inches taller than most stands.
Yeah.
And it means that I can't see top down. Like if you put a Red Sea Reefer 45 next to my Peninsula 500, the difference is huge. You can't see top down. And it's like you don't see the covers as much, which is true. But what about Cortez Angel? Do you like Cortez? I like them.
Yes, I've seen. Yeah. That's in the video. It's the one with it as well. It's the yellow and the blue.
The juveniles. I think that looks like an adult.
That's an adult. Yeah, I wouldn't get a Singapore Angel. I think they're too boring. They're just
Singapore.
The scribbled one I would consider, but none of these. You know how sometimes you just really want a fish. You just really want a very specific one, and you just so. Is there a fish that you've always wanted but you've never had? And actually, there's that Grammar de Jonge one that you like.
Yeah, kind of. But I can't work out if I just want it because it's expensive.
Well, imagine if I said to you, oh, you could have that, but here's all these other grammars you could have instead. You're not going to feel the same way, are you?
Yeah, this is true. I don't know if there would be one. I
would get a master. I'd get a Japanese master angelfish if I could.
Yeah, I will fight you for that. Yeah, if you see that. I will
if anyone sees a Japanese masked angelfish, contact me first, not Reef Dork.
Contact your favorite YouTuber.
Well, it's basically like you said the same thing again.
Coin toss. Yeah, exactly. So the Japanese masked swallowtail angel, Genicanthus semifasciatus, multifasciatus.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
Semifasciatus.
I think
you'll see the standard masked swallowtail all the time.
Yeah.
I've seen one Japanese in 7 years.
Where did you see it?
Reefkeeper Windsor, and I didn't. Oh no, Moss End, sorry, and I didn't buy it. I said because he looked like he was twitching his head. Yeah. So I was like, he might have fluke. So I said, do you know what? I'm going to leave him. I'll come back next week, and if he's still there, exactly, and he was gone. And then, but at the time, I didn't realize how rare they were. Yeah,
neither did I, because I saw one as well, exactly the same as you, just one in Reef Dreams. And
really?
It wasn't overly expensive, not for a fish that rare. Like I think it was like £200, which is a lot of money for a fish. But
mine is that kind of price.
For a fish that you have seen once and never again, that looks amazing. But I don't know if you want to show people what it looks like, because a lot of people won't even know what we're talking about.
Well, I've just brought up a picture of a personifier.
I think that might be the fish which I didn't know what was, and that I said was really nice.
Right. Okay.
But. Yes, but
it's funny because
I picked the worst picture.
Oh, for heaven's sake! Keith Reef Bum's got one of these.
No, that's a female. Go.
I know you like the males, don't you?
Yeah, the males are way better. No, that one. Yeah,
it's funny because I like the females. But anyway,
That one, I didn't notice this,
Cool.
but that one's got very similar markings to the sort of king eye angel, but just slightly different coloration.
A little bit. The king eye looks cooler. Would you consider a king eye? That was on your list, right?
I don't know how much they would be. They're a lot of
750 quid.
Well, that's a lot of money.
I said 750 quid, like, oh, they're not that much, because I when I first saw them, they were like 7 or 8 grand.
I know, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, cheap.
I know, but yeah, 750 quid is still. I was like, oh, 700, it's only, but that's a lot of money. That's mental money for a fish.
I think they are relatively reef safe. I think so, but you don't see them very often. So, and I've never seen one for £750 either. There might have been one shop selling them for 750 once.
Yeah, this is true. Peppermint angel. Sorry,
no.
that's 4 votes now.
How many angels am I going to add? How many angels? Well, I'm definitely having one large, one dwarf. The dwarf might be a golden angel, maybe, because I quite liked having a golden angel before. They're quite a cool fish because you hardly ever see them.
Yes, I know the one you mean, the dwarf one. Yeah.
Pyramid
angel. I think you're thinking of pyramid butterflies.
Yes.
Jay,
you don't like those, do you?
I just find them a bit boring, and I'll pull them back because I had a trio of them.
Yeah,
and they're so if I don't know, they're like, this guy's a perfect example. He's got a little bit of a brown face, but it's a little bit faded, and it just looks a bit boring. And just I found I thought they were really cool, and then when I had them, I was like, actually, they look a bit boring. They're not as cool as a lot of other butterflies.
It's almost like if they didn't have the brown face, it would be, and it was just their continuation of the yellow. It would be a cool fish. It's the brown that's not that nice, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's like a faded, but it's not like a deep, like standout. It's just a bit faded, and
it merges into the yellow. It's not like there's a line.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't washed his face, doesn't it? He's looked like he's he swam too close to a tang having a turd or something.
He's or he was cleaning his protein skimmer. That's the way you clean it, isn't it? You go mouth first with the protein skimmer. So I think people love that live stream. I think that's the one they loved the most because they said a lot of people messaged me just going, I laughed so much during that stream.
That was funny. I laughed during it as well. But we need to do one that's like embarrassing. I was going to do one follow-up about embarrassing stories or the most stupid things we've done, because that would be quite funny. Yeah. But anyway, well, I think
I've done anything stupid my whole life.
I thought that might take a bit more thinking time. Goldflake angel.
I didn't like the gold flakes, but I have become more open to them.
Ooh, interesting.
I think I've actually, this stream this is what the problem is. Like, you can have an idea where I've gone, I quite like a blue line, and since this stream I've now been put off the blue line. So maybe I don't want a blue line. but I do definitely want an annularis. I just know it. So I can't imagine any other fish is going to be the same. Is that the hybrid?
This is the goldflake.
That's the juvenile goldflake, isn't it? Yeah. That's not an adult. There's a juvenile.
So stunning.
The majestic behind it is a juvenile as well because it's got juvenile coloration.
Yeah, but that's
there's some angels that you see loads of juveniles for, like emperors, for example. But you don't see that many juvenile regals, and you don't see that many juvenile majestics either. I know you
see a lot of. You see a lot of mine's not that juvenile. Has he got adult colours? Yeah, he's got adult colours. That you see a lot of captive bred regal juveniles.
Yes, yeah.
For obvious reasons. But no, you're right. You don't see. In fact, those are the only ones I've ever seen that are the juvie colours, captive bred.
Someone's just written Alex motorboating. Who's got that on their bingo cards? We should have bingo. Do you understand what that means?
Oh yes,
it's Reef almost Dork, like when
Prestige Reef Dork Show bingo.
Yes, where we
drinking
say
game,
things.
Yeah.
But we would need someone. We need someone else to set it up so that we don't know what's on the cards.
If I'm thinking about changing my lights. Drink.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I think I enjoy these streams almost as much or more to some extent than the people that are watching them sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they're like a real laugh.
Good fun, yeah. There was anyway. We were doing Instagram questions earlier on. I got one question in, and
okay,
I stopped.
Yeah.
There's 2 more. one of them, and a few people have asked this in the chat tonight. And this was from Lancashire Reef. What will be the plan for cycling? First cleanup crew, fishing corals scheduled to go in. So plan for cycling, and then what's the first stuff you're going to add?
That's a good question, because
you're not doing it the cheat way that I would do it, where you put a bottle of bacteria in. You're going to do it properly. Oh, look at this! He's breaking.
I really don't want to go down that route. Like I'm even thinking about buying some not live rock, but like dead live rock, and using that rather than man-made rock, because I just I had the most success of any tank with real life, with real rock from the ocean, whether it was live or dead. That was the best tanks I've ever done. And so many people, and even BRS found this on their when they were testing, the very sterile tanks take a long time to get going. So it's almost like you take a little bit of a risk at the beginning, and then you have a much easier ride through the cycling and the first year process. So what I would probably do is you can't get dry rock very easily anymore. I'm actually looking on eBay to try and find dead live rock. Okay. I would bleach it so that to take all. I've actually got some already. It's been in the garden so long it's got grass growing in it, so it's basically live rock again. So I would go down that route. And then my plan is to get some of that rock and put it into the coral farm in the dark inside a black filter mesh bag, so that nothing can get onto the rock, but the bacteria can get through the mesh bag.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll put that into the sump in the dark, and I'll leave the tank in the dark for the first month, basically. And I will feed it, but I really don't want to go down the bottle of bacteria and put a fish in on day one. I don't like that route very much.
Yeah, the only thing. So that's the route I do use.
Yeah,
but I always put in a piece of live rock. Yeah, it just gives me comfort, because as in I'll buy it from the shop and I'll take it home wet, covered in water. I won't just let it dry out. I don't want any dye off, because that gives me peace of mind. Because then I'm like, well, even if the bacteria doesn't settle, I've got bacteria in there. So that's what I do. But we were talking about this a couple of days ago, and it's like, I would encourage you to do the dry rock, real reef rock or whatever.
Yeah.
But you've got to do what works for you. And if what's worked for you in the past, because there are so many different ways of running a tank, there's no best way. Although you could argue live rock is the best way. You could argue
that. I'm also looking at the chat at the same time. They're working out how they can set up the bingo.
I did see. So Hackman P says, Alex, set up a Discord with everyone that's here every week, and then block you and Ryan for the bingo chat. Yeah. Well, that's a good chat. I actually do have a Discord set up, but I don't really know what Discord is. I've never used it. Yeah. But I've set up an account, so I've got a Reef Dork Discord. I think it's like a forum. It's like an app basically where you post and you chat and stuff. But I've never used it, so I don't have time to look at it. But maybe.
Someone said, "Would you put a gold pearl angel fish in?" I was like, "Wow, that sounds really interesting. I've never heard of a gold pearl. Google it. It's a freshwater angel."
Oh,
you got me. You got me. I know nothing about freshwater, so but I can't remember what we say. Oh, so how I cycle it? Yeah, I'll probably cycle it with rock. I'll probably put rock in each of my coral systems, because they're very different. Those coral systems, they have different coral, which means they have different bacteria. Just because they're right next to each other doesn't mean they're going to have the same bacteria levels or anything in them. So I'll take a small rock from each of those, put that in the tank probably. And I might go with a bottle of bacteria as well for good measure, but I want the diversity.
Yeah,
is what I want. But I also don't want any nonsense that comes with using rock from other tanks. Well, the coral farm's pretty good, other than
asteroids.
So you were here. So, but
Picani. I don't think we get Picani over here.
You can't. I'm shocked at how hard it is to fill this tank with decorations. You can't get dry sand anymore, aragonite sand. You just can't get it. It's just gone. You can get live aragonite sand, which is a little bit annoying because it's not really live sand. It's just sand put in water with a bottle of bacteria poured in. So it's not actually sand from the beach, which is what people think it is. And you can't get dead live rock very easily either. So I've been surprised.
Yeah. It's and I did buy for my water box. I set up with live rock, 100% live rock, and it was £25 a kilo.
Yeah,
£25 sterling. So it was really expensive, which is almost double what real reef rock is, and real reef rock is expensive.
Yeah. So that is the other option. I might go down. I might get a man-made rock, but I don't know for sure. We'll see. We shall see.
Interesting.
It's an option.
So you've not really worked out what you can do for cycling. Actually, when are you likely to start? When's it going to get water in it?
Well, hopefully Jamie's still in the chat, because Jamie's going to come this week or next week sometime to come do it, and then we'll put the tank on Saturday, and then start getting it sort of plumbed in, and then once it's plumbed in, I can put water in it. So
Jay says he got a big sack of dry aragonite from Charterhouse.
I went on Charterhouse.
I expect you've looked there.
Actually, that might be true, but there was a specific type that I want. I want it so that the grain size is between 1 and 2 mil, because I worked basically. If you have an inch between 1 inch and 1.5 inches, and the grain size between 1 and 2 mil, that is the best sand bed,
right? Okay,
that you can get in terms of ease of cleaning, and so that you never siphon it or anything. So I don't ever siphon any of the sand on any of my tanks. I know I said earlier that I did, but it's just because the siphon goes down to the sand, not because I'm doing this.
You were lying to make yourself look good, basically. So.
Basically, yes. I'm a bit nervous being in front of you. You're such a
big time celebrity.
Yeah, yeah. So, but so that's what I will be doing with that.
Okay, and the last question from Instagram was from Bailey B. Cole, who says, "What are the long-term plans?" That's a bit of a broad question.
What are the long-term plans? It depends on how it goes. I'm literally winging this as much as everyone else is, because as I said, what I'll do is I'll get the fish, I'll put them in, and then I will gradually over a period of time introduce corals, and either it will eat them or it won't eat them. And if it eats them, and if it eats everything I put in there, I'm stuck. I picked the wrong fish, basically. And then this is what will likely happen. If the annularis I can't keep with anything else, I will take the annularis out and I'll replace it with one of the more, a regal, a majestic, a blue face. Yeah, one of those three. And if that doesn't work, I would then go for a proper reef safe one, like a swallowtail. And that's when. So I have corals in the coral farm which annoy the customers all the time, because they're like, "Oh, I really want to buy that amazing red and black Lobo. It's so nice." And I'm like, "Sorry, that's mine." But I'm keeping these corals. But what's the point? Because I can't put them in a tank.
You can't just feed that to an angelfish, though.
No, I'm not going to put that in there.
Special coral.
No, I'm not. Oh, that's very special, because some people say we're one of the best corals.
Wow.
But I'm not going to put that in there. I might try. So I'm not going to be putting gold torches in there, but I might try a green torch because it's slightly cheaper. Or I've got like 30 frammers. So frammers, they grow green and purple. So some of them will be all green, some of them will be all purple, and some of them are a mix of half and half.
Yeah. Okay.
And the green and half ones sell all the time, but the purple ones don't. So I might try it with a purple one because I've got 30 of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And just see what happens.
Interesting.
Get the not for sale sign next to the frags. Yeah. I might get a not for eating sign and put it in. Actually, I'm even thinking about how I'm going to introduce the corals, because that makes a difference in theory.
People always used to say, or like when I was researching before when I started the hobby, people would often say, if you put the coral in first and then the fish, it'll be fine.
I don't have that luxury.
Well, it turns out that's bollocks.
Oh, is it?
but I think that's that kind of thing. And I've heard people say the other way around. But that kind of theory is worth thinking about, because it might be actually that if you introduce, because the theory with that is that if you put a coral in when a fish is already there, it's going to be like, oh, cool, he's putting that in like he puts in food. I'll have a nibble on
exactly.
That. So that does, I think there is probably some sense in it, to be fair. But,
well, I'm actually considering putting like a coral in, and then putting a plastic box over it, so that the angelfish can see the coral just for a couple of days, because the coral will be fine if it can't get proper light, and just so it can go, I'm going to eat this in 2 days' time. I don't know if it will make a difference. You wouldn't think that putting a fish in a box would make a difference when you put it in with established tanks, but it makes a world of difference. So why wouldn't it be different with the coral? I don't know. And then it will just learn that everything in the plastic box is food. So
okay. I feel like when you take the plastic box away, it's open season, but who knows?
Maybe I don't know. But apparently they're very clever fish. They have like a personality, angelfish. I have noticed that they're slightly different. Not regals. Regals are like just there. But when you
probably got a more interesting personality than you, actually. I should get one on the live stream.
Oh, so next week's live stream is going to be you and your regal angel.
Yeah, just sat there like
just swimming around.
Yeah. Hello.
You're like just proving a point that you're more interesting than Ryan.
Yeah. Personalities, anyway. Sorry, you were saying.
HBC Chemistry has got a very strong opinion of us.
I know. I had to approve that. YouTube blocked it.
So I didn't hear what you said. What was your question?
I've forgotten. What was my question, everybody?
Someone in the chat says,
I can't remember. But anyway.
Are we done with Instagram questions? Because we slowly got through them.
Yes, we have indeed. We've done with that.
Oh no, we might have to actually talk to each other now.
I know. So what else? What's the plan? What else have you got going on with this? With the tank? I think that's equipment filtration.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's going to go into a Red Sea reef mat. It's the 1,200 one. I got the big one, which I have now realized is too big, because I'm going to have to cut out. This nice, beautiful, pristine tank, and it's like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. That I'm going to cut a section off of it.
Smash the baffles out, yeah.
Yeah, but to fit it in, I would have to take one of the baffles out. It comes with filter socks, which each to their own. Some people like filter socks; they're not for me. What I do like that it comes with this is like that little bit of extra thought. It comes with a silencer. So did yours have a silencer?
My water box did, but I ripped the socks out straight away. So
yeah. I wonder why tank manufacturers are still going down that route of like I suppose they have to put something in. If it's like an all-in-one, you have to do something.
So I like the idea of having filter socks in as a default, kind of, but I feel like so many people these days want an automatic filter roller that Red Sea have got the right idea with that. A removable one, so it's there. And if you don't want to spend 300 quid on a filter roller, you've got the filter socks, cool. But if you do, you can just slide it out. And Waterbox have said a couple of times that they don't plan to do that. I saw a live stream, I don't know, 6 months ago, where they said we're sticking with it as it is. I suspect that'll change as filter rollers get more and more popular. They're already pretty popular, but it's a shame because I had to remove the filter sock section on my Waterbox, but it wasn't that hard. It took a bit of patience. But it wasn't that hard. It's
just a razor blade, isn't it?
It takes a long time. But the Red Sea have got a little baffle removal kit. I've got actually. I've never used it. I'll send it down to you. I might probably. But
I have to tell people that you're sponsoring the video when I'm cutting out.
Exactly.
I'm like this removal tool came from Reef Dork. But don't worry, my opinion of Reef Dork is always bad.
Yeah, I think he's a dickhead. But yeah, so it just takes time, and you just got to. But you've got the luxury of time now. You don't need to get it set up in the next week, do you? So
no. So I've got ages basically now. So I do want to get it all sort of in and up, and because it does take a little while to get going with the cycle and everything. But do you know what I hate? And I'm really not looking forward to this. I hate aquascaping. I just hate it.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah,
I have no interest. If someone said to me, "I will come and do your aquascape for you," don't say this because you'll just put one rock in.
Yeah, you're done.
If someone would come and do a proper aquascape, I'd accept. Like, I just don't care that much. I don't like the cementing or the breaking, or I just have sort of that will do. I'm that kind of guy.
But it's worth spending time on.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Because you regret one of the things that I regret. I wasn't mad keen on my aquascape. I've fixed it now, for the most part. But it's worth spending a bit of time.
Me?
No, but well, actually, yeah. I've sold you 50% of my tank, basically.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but yeah, it's worth spending a bit of time. Oh, Steve's Aquarium, stone metallic snails, good or bad? Do they breed to pest numbers? No, they don't. They're very good. I got 2 on a frag this weekend, and I was like, cool, free gift.
Yeah,
you don't see many of them these days because they used to come in on live rock.
I get them on the corals quite regularly. You get them in, and I just throw them. I must have 100 of them because every time I see one, I throw it in the tank.
You never see them, and I've never had them breed to pest numbers. I've never had any snail breed to pest numbers, to be fair. But
no. Do you ever have dove snails?
Yes, I've got millions of them.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't seen dove snails in ages.
No, it's weird. They just appeared. I hadn't had them for years, and in fact, I took some frags to Reef Keeper this weekend, and I was looking in the bag at the shop. I was like, oh look, there's a dove snail, and there were like 4 in there. So I've got millions of them, and they breed a lot.
Loads of turbos. My turbos breed all the time. They're like the horniest snails I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Every so often I walk in and like the coral tanks are just milky colored. I'm just like, and this is my first reaction is like this.
Yeah.
What's wrong? And then you see the snails like,
oh, it's just jizz.
Yes. Oh, few.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, Jamie suggests drilling holes in the rock. Jamie, I think we just worked out another thing we need to do. Your list is getting longer and longer, Jamie.
Yeah. Have you seen the coral euphoria video he's talking about?
I haven't. Maybe I don't remember it though.
So this is how he makes his aquascape. I think it was live rock, and he'll slice it. You've got a bandsaw as well, so you can do it. Yeah. He'll slice it into tiles, and then he drills holes. And I think, does he use acrylic rods? I can't remember how, but he fixes the tiles, these live rock tiles onto the tank, so you can just pull them out and move them. So you can be like, you move your corals around to whatever you want. If you want to frag them, you can pull them out and do it easily. It's wicked. I don't think I'd have the patience to do it, but it's cool.
It would have to be live rock, because you go through a saw blade every piece of rock if it was man-made. Man-made rock is like this. I actually think that's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of man-made rock. It's like the bane of my existence, because every time I buy coral from someone, including you, it comes on man-made rock and it destroys my 30-pound saw blade. just cutting through it. Really? But I think the best thing is just get a chisel and smash it up and then cut the smaller pieces.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what. Jay Rich says companies love them. You get the subscription type income. What's that? I hate there's so many subscriptions.
Don't know.
I've got like a million.
Oh, I know what it is.
Roller mat.
Yeah. I was thinking this today actually. I don't know how much the roller mat the rolls are for the bigger one.
They're quite cheap. I think mine's 12 quid. I think the big one might be 15, 18. They're not expensive, but I don't know how long they'll last, to be fair. So Jay Rich also says they screw up filter rolls screw up skimmer performance. Mine, I have 2, and 2 with skimmers, and they don't. And I've only ever had 2 tanks, but I've had 4 different filter rollers. Yeah. Well, sorry, 3 different manufacturers, and I've never noticed a decrease in skimmer performance. But yeah, the subscription thing is true, because you have to replace it every 2 months or whatever. But they're not that expensive. And the thing is, with a hobby like this, I'm at the stage now where I'm balls deep, and so 10 quid here and there is like whatever.
If it's £100 a roll, you're like, I'm in.
Yeah, I'll just sell the car. It's fine. Doesn't matter. I don't need it.
There's been some questions coming in. Someone said you mentioned a butterfly in the mix. I would almost certainly have a copper band. Like it's all fun. It's like a nice idea to go, oh yeah, let's just add loads of like correlators and just see what happens. I saw on Instagram someone did this the other day and they went crazy. They had angels and they put loads of coral in, and they just destroyed everything. Yeah. So now, if you've got one angelfish, it might not eat Galaxia, it might not eat torch corals. But if you have an angelfish and a correlating butterfly, it might eat something different, which limits your what you can keep even more. So I don't think that I will go crazy. Is the honest answer. I think the maximum I'd go is 2 large angels. Like I've just added it to 2 all of a sudden. It is 2 large and 1 small, and then 1 butterfly probably. But as I said, butterflies are very fragile compared to angels, and angels hate them. They hate them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they do not get on well at all. Sorry,
I need to interrupt you.
That's fine.
This is important. Whale shark man's in the house.
I'm glad you interrupted me.
Jason, someone was asking after you earlier on. I think it was James was saying, "Where is he?" So
yeah, you're late. You're late, Jason. We expect you to be here at 7 with us.
Yeah. We've had to talk about fish for God's sake.
Yes.
Whale shark is a fish, I suppose. But what were you saying?
Who knows? Remember. Only about whale sharks, I think. And someone said, "What sort of scape am I aiming for?" I will probably go for islands. This is what I'll probably end up doing. I'll Google aquascapes, see what other people's done. There is an aquascape that I love, but I don't know how practical it is. Have you seen the one where it's like all these fingers all facing the same direction? It's like I'd have to draw it.
And is there another rock at the end of the tank?
No, maybe, but not really. No. So this is the worst drawing ever. I'm not even going to show you this. It looks like a rake. That's a terrible. You know what I mean. If you go on Reef Aquascapes, they've got it on there. I just think.
RR Aquascapes. Oh, I do know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I'll bring that up because that's. I really like that tank. So actually, I've just bought another RR Aquascapes sculpture, and I like some of their stuff, in particular with the frag plug holes. But I think you're talking about this bad boy.
Yes, that is it. Do you want to see my drawing of it?
Hang on a second.
Wait, where is it?
What the hell is that? It looks like a robin's foot.
I've just realized this is from a consultation I did yesterday. This is what you go through during the consultations. Like I go through everything thoroughly, and I write it down so it looks like I know what I'm doing.
When the reality is very different. And something like this is the same.
Yeah, that's what I would love. I'd love to have something like that. But how practical is that? It looks pretty. But
I don't think it's that. So the only issue with that, so it's got loads of hiding spaces. So I think that's cool. That's good for fish. I think they'd be happy. Loads of spaces to get out of the way of aggression or that sort of thing. The only thing is fixing corals to that looks difficult to me.
Yes. And also, where are you going to put them? Because once they're all grown out, that's just going to look like a big mass of corals.
I think that would look wicked when it's grown out. And I think the fix to that is one of the things that this guy does. He'll drill frag plug holes in each of those little jutty out bits.
Yeah.
So you can just swap them in and out. That's what I've got on mine.
It was the last one that I preferred, I think. The one that you showed a minute ago. I prefer that it's got chunky
bit more minimalist. But you could get around that.
He put one out today, actually, which I thought was amazing. But yeah, that one I quite like. There's another one where the bits at the bottom, I'm pointing, so as if you can see, the higher up, it's on like higher stalks. That is the awful aquascape. Well,
can't please everyone.
Yes, because I like it, you like it, but somewhere where it looks like sea defense.
Sea defense. It does actually. So, it looks like the beaches at Normandy.
I like it. Yeah, so
I like it.
Yeah, what will probably happen is I'll end up having a high. You know what most people do? They have I have a really big plate of dead live rock.
Yeah, okay.
From ages ago, it's huge. That I'll probably use.
I don't like flat plates though because you don't get any. When the corals, I had that once on my 4 foot by 2 foot tank that I had before a couple of years, about 7 years ago, and it just all the corals are on the same level. And
no, because what I did is I had 2 rocks holding it up at the back that were tall. And then one rock at the front. So it was almost like, it was like a plate like that, sloping downward.
Okay. That's better.
And then the corals, you put I know a lot more now than I did back then. You know that the digitatas will grow over everything. So you put those at the top because they grow so quickly. And then you can put some other things that are slower growing nearer down. You don't want the slow growing stuff at the back because then you can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you place frags on that? You with difficulty.
Yeah, that was the only thing. There was. I will probably end up going for a more traditional one. But
2 islands.
I think aquascaping is one of those. Yeah, 2 islands. Just one big wall, floor to ceiling, like floor to the roof of the tank. Done. So, am I boring you? I saw you ignoring then. Am I boring you?
Yeah, it's been boring me for about 2 hours now saying it.
Yeah, well, see.
Is that man-made rock? Sorry.
I'm being bullied. Definitely, I'm being bullied again.
It is man-made rock, and I don't know what it's made of. I did ask a while ago when I first got it because I was trying to figure out if it's all right or not.
Probably
But he
top
wouldn't.
secret.
Yeah, well, exactly. He wouldn't tell me because it's his product.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I've got a escape in there. I did put some live rock in as well, a couple of small bits, but I've got 90% of that tank is RR aquascapes, and a good chunk of my tank downstairs, my main tank, Peninsula 500, is RR aquascapes as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. All right.
We were going through equipment, weren't we? Oh, what is there?
Yeah, equipment, filtration. Yeah. So filter roll. Half an hour talking about that.
Yeah. Then I'm going to go for. I've got a NIOS skimmer already.
Which one?
Which one?
Quantum 160.
Yeah, 220.
220.
160 is tiny.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, look, I'm a man who likes a big skimmer. Not the biggest skimmer, but a big skimmer. I like the curves.
Compensating for something else. Some people might say.
I've got so a lot of these things I have already because I have them as a backup for the coral farm. Although it's expensive to have a backup Vectra L1, for example, or L2.
Yeah.
Like I needed one the other day. So it's good that I had a backup. So I've got all these backup ones. So I'm just using those at the moment. So I've got a NIOS as a backup. I've got a Vectra L2. I'm using my old lights from the old tank. But what I've realized, even with all this old equipment, and even with obviously the tank, with obviously I was given it is incredibly expensive to set up a tank. Even for me now, it's insanely expensive. Think like the sand. I think to fill that tank with sand, it's like £300 if you want to go for the live sand. It's for sand.
Do you mind if I say how much the tank was? If you were to buy it,
it's a £5,000 tank.
$5,500.
Yeah. Oh, it's 5.5 from Kraken. If you get it from Waterbox direct.
Oh, I see. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's £5,000 on the tank. 300 quid on sand alone. 300 quid on sand.
Filling it with salt, it's going to be probably another £150.
270 gallons. Yeah. What's that in 1,000 litres? 50 litres costs me. I can't even work it out.
But it's £7. It's going to be.
That's about 150 quid's worth of salt.
Yeah. It's almost like I said that about a minute ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Sorry.
I'm just joking. Then like the rock and like it's the reason I'm saying this is because this hobby didn't used to be like this. They like a Versa, £700. The MP40s, the MP40s I've got already, but I've got the heaters already as a backup. So all this, I'm going to have to replace it. So it still cost me something because I'm going to have it as a backup again. But is this hobby almost becoming too much when it's going to cost? The reality is to have this tank with brand new lights, which are probably £700 each if I was to buy them, and I need 3 or 4 of them. This is a 10 grand system.
Some equipment as well has taken a big jump in costs. Like it wasn't that long ago that you could get for 300 quid easily, you could get a 4-head dosing pump and a good quality one as well. And then suddenly the Versa came out, and I'm not saying it's not worth it. They're good. 700 quid for 4. And people buy them. So some equipment like that has suddenly become like, it's just like, yeah, I'll spend 700 quid on 4 doses. Why not?
Well, I don't know which doser that I'll be going for, but I did look at the Versas. It's just so
expensive.
And then there's the electricity cost, but that isn't about the Versa specifically or Ecotech specifically. It's like everything is more expensive. Like the electricity, the salt used to cost me. I'm sure it used to be like £48 a barrel, like for a thing. How much is
80
like
quid?
80.
Yeah, mine's 80 quid.
It's like this is what I said to the people when they were here the other day. It's like, even though like I'm doing this cheaply in comparison to what other people are doing, it's like, how can people afford this?
Well, even but this is the thing is, so when I set up my first tank, and this was 8 years ago to be fair, so things were a little bit different then, but not much. But when I set up my first tank, I had a budget of £1,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, and that was I think I that didn't include rock, but that was basically for all of the equipment, the tank and all of the equipment.
Yeah.
And I got a decent LED. It was a 3-foot tank, so it was a good size, 250 liters ish. I got all the I got LEDs, got everything, power head, all that sort of stuff for £1,000. And that for me was like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
£1,000 for a bloody fish tank.
Whereas now we're like £1,000 for a fish. Oh, that's fine.
This is it. But this, and because at the time I had a freshwater tank, and it was like a Fluval Roma 125, which everybody had, and I got it secondhand, and it was like £100 or whatever. And you buy a shoal of 30 neon tetras, and it was like £1. and suddenly, so that £1,000 was a massive step up. But like you say, now I'm at the point where I'm just like, oh yeah, you know what, it's £500, fine, I'll buy that. And it's like suddenly, that's where all my money goes. And it's not there's not a lot of money. It's just that because I'm so addicted to it, I don't think about that.
I genuinely believe this hobby is actually addictive. I think it's actually addictive.
Yeah.
I actually think part of the reason it's addictive, I did a video on this a long time ago. It's like a gambling addiction. Everything you buy, you have no idea if that's going to survive. You put it in and then you hope for the best. So, and I actually think it gives you that gambling buzz. You know, when you put money on something and then you are either going to lose it or win it. It's exactly the same when you buy an Acropora. You have no idea that you can do your best, but there's no guarantee in this hobby at all.
No, so, it's but and so Opinionated Reef says buy everything secondhand. Buying brand new is just stupid. Well, I mean, extreme opinion. I don't think it's stupid buy stuff new, but
there is some things that I would recommend you buy new. Definitely.
Oh, let's go through the list of that.
Heaters, one of them. I also think if it's a power heads should be anything that's moving in the tank. I think that you should like have a serious think about. I knew someone who couldn't grow any coral. They were all dying. They did an ICP test, and it was a rusty return pump. Oh, you're yawning again, are you? Why are you so tired today?
I actually am quite tired today, generally. But anyway,
it's that beer. It's making you sleepy. Can we do a thing in the chat? Am I boring everyone? Because if I'm boring everyone, I'll let you go.
Yeah, 100% yes. So no, I agree. I'm not a fan of buying. I've bought return pumps secondhand before, and actually the good thing about return pumps is you can strip them completely apart quite easily and see. But I don't like buying secondhand power heads for that reason.
That's weird. Why are you happy with the return pump but not a power head?
I can't give you a sensible answer. But I just don't like buying secondhand power. I think it's mainly because I like MP4 Vortec power heads.
Yeah.
And they are known to rust. It's unlikely and it doesn't happen often, but it can happen. So that puts me off. And actually I did buy 2 MP10s about a year ago and the wet sides were both rusted.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I had to replace
mine. I've got loads of them.
But that's it. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often, but it just that puts me off. So that sort of stuff I'd rather buy new.
Yeah.
What else? LED lights, I think, is fine buying secondhand. Yeah, especially like if you were to buy a Gen 4 Radeon now, and you're potentially using Gen 4, they would be dirt cheap. A brand new Radeon is
£700 for a Gen 4 because I do
30.
Yeah, £200 because I looked at getting an additional one. And I just thought I might as well get exactly what I've got already. There's no point in having 3 of one light and then one weird looking different shade of light. If you see.
Yeah, you would notice. Yeah, the only thing with that though is LEDs do burn out. So after they've got a shelf life.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'd go back as far as like a 5-year-old Gen 4, but like if you bought a Gen 5 now, just because all the Gen 6 is out, you'd save half the money. It's a year old and it's a wicked light still.
Yeah, but I've got to get 3 other.
This is the trouble. Yeah, yeah.
3 other ones.
But
I could do what you do. I could just come to your house and go. You got any spare lights going? Reef Dork,
yeah, exactly. I've got loads.
You're like, you open the cupboard and you're like, which ones would you like?
Yeah, exactly. Just like I've got a secret room where I pull a book out and the whole wall goes. And but so I bought with my lights. So the Kessels I bought brand new.
Yeah,
they were bloody expensive. But the Reef Brights, £850 plus another £150 for the Wi-Fi dongle. Anyway, the Reef Brights I bought 3 of them secondhand and 1 new, or two secondhand and 2 new, something like that.
Yeah,
and that's fine. But so lights, I don't mind buying secondhand.
Yeah,
powerheads not so keen on. Return pumps, maybe.
Every tank I've ever had has been secondhand. Every tank, the tank itself.
Tanks, I don't know about that. The trouble is, a second-hand tank, especially if it's only a year or so old, nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But the longer it goes on, the more I think, as someone moved it and not being very gentle, it just makes me more nervous with an older tank.
I've never worried about tanks. As I said, every one I've had has been secondhand, and touch wood has been fine. But yeah, I'm fine with the tanks. I'm fine with the lights, power heads, and the pumps are the two things. And I'm fine with titanium heaters, but definitely glass heaters. So don't even, if you're using a glass heater, stop using it. It's as simple as that. Go for a titanium one because they're just better.
Because if they get exposed to air, they're fine.
Yeah. So it's not just that. I think glass ones have a habit of like leaking, whereas I've never had a titanium one leak. I've had it where I've had two titanium ones go on the coral farm, both on the same system, but a long time apart it must have been, and they were so good I didn't even notice for months that one of them had stopped working because the other one just kept it going.
Yeah,
I always have two, one small, like a big and a small one. To keep so that I can, but it just still worked. So
yeah. What else? What other equipment? Skimmers. I'm not mad keen on secondhand skimmers. Although I have bought
they can be noisy. That's the problem. Yeah.
I've bought a secondhand skimmer that was like, if the thing with skimmers, there's nothing wrong with buying a secondhand skimmer.
Yeah.
But it's one that I wouldn't want to get a 5-year-old one, like a 6-month or a 1-year-old one. Perfect. Filter roller as well. Yeah, absolutely. I bought a secondhand Red Sea reef mat, 200 quid, saved me 100 quid. Nothing wrong with it. What can go wrong? Well, I'd say that. But so some stuff like that. But skimmer, I wouldn't want a 5-year-old skimmer for that exact reason. It'll buzz and.
I did buy an old skimmer once, and I never again. It was an old Deltec. In fact, I think I bought a few old skimmers. Where this was again at the very beginning. And one of them was so noisy. It was like unreasonably noisy. It was a weird design. Now I think of it, I had a hang on the back one, which is like a little cup that moved up and down. That wasn't it. There was one that sits in the tank. It was my first in-tank skimmer. Do you ever look back and just think, I've come so? I suppose you don't, because you've not been doing it for a huge amount of time. No, but there's a lot has changed in 15 years.
Yeah.
So I look back and just go, I have come such a long way since I was out there going, I'm going to buy that angelfish. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute.
It's definitely in terms of knowledge and sensible thinking, actually, as much as anything, because like one of the things I think about quite a lot is that actually when I first set up my tank, I didn't apply common sense, because you think that it's a really complicated hobby. Yeah. And actually, it's mostly simple, and most of the answers to fixing problems you can work out yourself. It's just that because everything, you get 1,000 different voices, and you think it's more complicated, you try to look for the more complicated answers.
Yeah.
So like salinity is a cracking example, because like if I've been thinking about doing a video of a coral of how to fix problems, and the first thing I'm going to say is check your salinity. No, I'm not joking. Go and check your salinity. Stop the video. Check your salinity. Because that's the thing, and like when you're new, that's happened to me as well. But
it's almost like you got this great advice from another YouTuber.
Oh, I did, yeah, the second best in the country.
Second best in the country.
But that's a really good example of it, because it's like because when you look for if your corals aren't doing well, especially when you're new. When I was new, I was like, maybe it's the light's wrong, or maybe it's you go through 1,000 different things. Yeah. It's like it's not that, and you don't go for the obvious things. And actually, the simple stuff is usually the right answer.
Yeah, like one of the things I do when someone comes to me during a consultation, they say, "Look, I've got a problem. What do I do?" I go, "Wait, what's your salinity?" And they go, "This is my salinity." I go, "Well, what did you use to check it?" And they say this. I said, "When was that last calibrated?" Exactly. So I'm like, I proper and they'll go, "Oh, it was calibrated a week ago." Well, how did you calibrate? Did you calibrate it with a calibration solution, or was it with RO? Because RO and a calibration solution are very far apart, so you're still getting an inaccurate reading.
But the thing is, so in your consultation, you can have a proper chat with people and explain this. But I see often online, people will always be like, "What are your parameters? They're fine." Yeah, it's like, no. I promise you, there's something there. I know you think that this is basic stuff, and you're looking for a complicated answer, but it's probably so. There's a reason that we're asking that.
They're quite intense when people talk, because people will obviously pay, so they want to get something for their money. So when they sit up facing me like this, I'm like, right. Just the first thing you need to know is whatever the problem with the tank is, you've caused it. because it's about accepting like responsibility firstly, and then we go through and I go, look, tell me your test results, but don't bullshit me. Tell me, like, if you haven't tested them, tell me you haven't tested them. There's no point in me wasting my time and going through all these
wasting your time.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Wasting your own time.
Yeah. It's
you don't need to worry about saving face. Be honest. It's like,
yeah. And I said, I did this literally yesterday. I said people lie to me all the time, and I'm just like, stop lying. Don't pay money to talk to me and then try and cover it up. But it was quite good because people also become. It makes them accountable. So someone he listens to the live stream. He knows what he's doing. He knows that what he needs to do. He just wants someone to go, come on, man. You know what you need to do. Just do it. And I said to him, what would you like to change in your tank? He said, well, I hate that Xenia rock. I said, well, why is it still in there? In 5 minutes time, send me a message without that rock in that tank. And then he did. And then all of a sudden it's gone.
It's just holding you to account, and even bouncing things off people is useful.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I know time has just hit. I don't know if that's what you were looking at. I saw you staring at something.
No, I've been trying to catch up with the chat because I've missed loads of comments. But
I'm fine. So I'm not saying let's go. I'm just saying, like, I know that you're obviously very tired if I'm boring you today. I
will wrap it up soon. But Philip Harrison says stick a fish logo on it and it triples the prices. which
is true.
Yeah, to some extent it is, and with some things. It really is true, but like for Kalkwasser, you can buy it costs like 30 pence for a ton, and you buy Seachem Kalkwasser and it's 20 quid for 500 kilos, 500 grams or whatever, and it's still cheap. But
so it's just reminding me of saying, like, it's
really
unlike we're at the very end of the stream, so people won't notice. And I'll put on I want to make some stickers. I've decided of my logo. I don't know how to do it. I want to do it. I think I could put them in the coral boxes. It's just nice for people to just make. Some people throw them away. Some people might stick them on their tank. It'd be nice for them. I don't know. But I have been asked loads of times to do stickers, but I don't know how to do them. So if anyone in the chat or anyone knows how to do them, get in contact with me, and we'll sort something out. So
have you ever Googled it?
I also want merch. So if you can sort that out for me too.
So I've thought about doing merch, but I'd want to do it right. You can do it through YouTube. If you go into the YouTube the monetization section, I think they do it through Teespring for their t-shirts and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I worry about the quality.
I completely agree with you. Yeah,
I have a hoodie which I wear all the time that came from a coral seller in America, and I love it. Yeah. And I don't know why I love it. I think it's when I put it on, I'm just like, oh, coral, this is what I like. I would never wear it out, but I wear it in my house. And I just wondered if I did a hoodie, people would wear it in their houses. If you see what I mean, and it reminds them. So
because I've looked at that before, I've looked at merch before, and I don't think I could do it properly. So if I can't do it properly, I'm not going to do it.
That's why I haven't done it.
But when I've looked down the list, I've been like, I could do mugs and hats and t-shirts and jumpers and all that. But then I'm like, what I want to do is I want to see a sample, and if you get a sample of everything, you end up spending like 300 quid.
Yeah,
and then if it's rubbish, you've lost that money. So I don't know, but I'm with you. Yeah, but we'll see if anyone has mentioned it in the chat.
Look, I'll be honest. The reason I want stickers is because then people might stick them inside their aquarium cabinet, and then they'll see my name every day, and it's like they'll come and like my videos and buy my corals.
Yeah. Okay, about 1,000 people have asked about this fish, the gold tail angel.
Is that the one where the guy said, "What about?" Yeah. Can you click a picture to bring out bigger? I don't actually recognize it. It's not one that I'm familiar
Not one
with.
I've seen before either. There we go. How's that?
I wonder if they're expensive. They're obviously rare if you don't see them that often.
13. This has got a price. No price there.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Does that take your fancy? That just looks
do a prestige reef towel. That's so true.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Stop giving Reef Dork ideas, otherwise you'll have to buy two.
Reef Dork towel, Reef Dork mug. I know a guy who does PPE merch. Oh, PPE, yeah.
Oh, Les, we're like best friends. Les, if you help me out, I'll show you my guns.
Yeah. Or let's take a
You're the
take
one
a
who's
photo.
always asking for them.
take a photo, Les, and send it to me. I'll buy it off you.
I have a
Reef Dork
prestige reef shrine in my cabinet.
Reef Dork budgie smugglers.
Yeah, I
can
see the little.
You can have a picture of my face on your todger.
Like that.
Reef Dork condoms.
That taken out of context sounds awful.
You can have a picture of my face on your todger. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I want to know about this prestige reef shrine. I quite like that idea. It says I already have a prestige reef shrine in my cabinet.
Okay.
You've got one. James, you have a load of pictures of me, haven't you? But all with my eyes cut out.
Yeah. Oh God, that'd be creepy. I don't like stickers. A lot of people have them on the inside of their cabinets. I don't like them.
Well, look, stop. Don't tell people not to want my stickers.
Obviously, I would have a prestige reef sticker though.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Workwear Express.
Yeah. See, but again, the reason I've been burnt. I have a prestige reef polo shirt which I got for myself for when I wear to wear at like shows, and when it turned up, it was shit. So I'm like, not only am I not happy, I would never let anyone else have this because it's not what I'm happy with.
Absolutely. The other thing with me,
the corals are exactly the same way. I will not ship a coral if I'm not happy with it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Because it's just I'm completely with you. And so my logo as well, I had it designed, so it was designed properly, but there were things I wasn't happy with, so I edited it. And on a small picture like that, it's fine. But if you zoom in and put on a t-shirt, you'd be like, oh, there's a couple of little pixels here and there. So I'd have to get that done properly. But a prestige reef show event.
Reef Dork toilet paper. Can it be with your face on it?
No, like going like this.
I can use it to clean my skimmer cup.
Yeah, a Reef Dork skimmer like finger, skimmer cup cleaning finger. Yeah, I like that.
I would love a prestige reef show event would be a nice idea, but it's unlikely to ever happen. The cost involved with doing a show would be insane. So, and
it would be a lot of effort, and I don't have the time as much as anything.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't know where to start. Like literally, where would you start? I know. Actually, I do know where I'd start. I'd go talk to the people at Worldwide Corals and go, like, how did you start doing this?
What was I going to say? A vector graphic. Mine is a vector graphic, but it's just I messed up. What was I going to say? The sticker app on Instagram is very good, so check out sticker app. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want paint on my paper. Don't get it. But yeah, I like the idea of merch. It's just I also like the idea of 3D print. I like the idea of selling 3D printed stuff. Speaking of which.
You've got one, haven't you?
I have. And I have now got
hats for urchins.
Can you see this?
Hannah
checker holder.
Wow.
So that's personalized prestige reef that's got alkalinity, nitrate, and phosphate. It's got spaces for all the reagents for the bottles.
I've completely forgot that you were going to do this.
Yeah.
Are you using this as advertising? Who else wants one? Right.
No,
Reef Dork needs to start getting some orders in.
These take 24 hours to print.
Do they?
It's great. Yeah. That one is quite big. But...
There must be a cost, like a cost attached to run, because I thought they're expensive, those machines to run, the electricity on them.
No, they're not. I've plugged in a power monitor. They're not that expensive.
Oh, really?
No, they're relatively cheap. But that's the reason I got thinking about it was because you can 3D print hats for urchins.
Look at the last comment. I'm sorry, but you obviously missed that live stream.
Have his favorite fishing corals as he has terrible taste.
Apparently not.
Ryan does have terrible taste. Yeah.
No.
Alex, I genuinely do want to ask you about 3D printing. I have the file. I need it printing. Contact someone like Reef Parts or someone who does it properly, because I just it's not what I do. But there are loads of reefing 3D printing companies. Can you do the STL on Thingiverse? No, because I'm likely to sell that at some point.
I'm genuinely touched that you made that for me, and that you took the effort to put my logo on it, didn't you? Is it my actual logo?
No, it just says Prestige Reef, and
it looks like it's the same.
Oh well, there you go.
You should have just lied and said yes. I'd be like,
yeah, I did actually. Yeah, look,
it's the same writing. I suppose
that's a coincidence.
Yeah,
also, well, so there are a couple of other things I did. I bought a little microfiber cloth.
Oh yeah.
And I've ordered a pair of scissors that fit in here that you can use to cut open the Hannah sachets.
Oh wow!
So that's arriving tomorrow or next week or some point next week. So I've gone all out, Ryan.
As I said, it's like it actually means
you're
a lot.
Up.
So I appreciate it. So
good.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. And at some point, so the 3D. So I'm not going to share I've shared some 3D printing files on printables.com. But stuff like this, at some point, I'm likely to sell it. It might be 6 months, it might be a year, it might be 5 years. So that I won't share.
Don't you worry, I'm going to start selling it soon.
Exactly.
I just want it so I can copy it.
Yeah, those files I won't share. But stuff that I've just made, like, actually, one thing I made today, in fact. Oh, no, where is it? There it is. Hang on.
You're such a dork. I've just realized this. Will it be as expensive as the Hannah checkers? You can set the price however you want it.
Yeah, it probably will be. So this was a copy of someone else's idea. It's a holder for a Senai.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like what an Apogee has.
But the one that was on internet already looked a bit clunky, whereas this is a really slick one. It's got just looks a bit neater.
If you do say so yourself, a really slick.
If I say so myself, it is cool.
Some people would say that would almost come across as arrogant. Just saying, some people would say that. Not me, of course.
Takes one to know one. But I want to do at some point when there'll be a week when you're busy and you're doing cool stuff with your cool mates or whatever. And when that happens, I'll do a live stream.
You are my only cool mate.
Fucking hell, you're in trouble if I'm your coolest friend. But at some point I'll do a live stream about 3D printing for reef tanks because it genuinely is brilliant, and I would like to encourage more people to do it.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's it. 3D printing hermit crab shells. Yeah, not sure that would work. Maybe it would. Anyway, any final comments or words of wisdom, Ryan?
I don't know how much we stayed on topic today. We stayed on it a little bit, but I feel like we didn't stay on it that much.
We're not very good at staying on topic.
Not when we don't have I'm terrible at it. Yeah. But not when we don't have a strict plan. But
yeah,
look, people will be able to follow obviously the new series anyway. So, and I don't know if I've got that much planned for it. So I don't know. The aquascape will be done in the moment, if you see what I mean, just by playing around, and the fish will be done in the moment as I see what I want.
Okay. Interesting. Fair enough. And 3D printing frag plugs are so cheap. You don't need to 3D print them, in my opinion.
That's why would you want a 3D
plastic frag plug? No, I do. I've 3D printed little frag rocks, so they hold my for gunnies and stuff.
Do they look like rocks?
That's quite cool. I mean, they're black. So if you've got black rocks, then yeah. But no. But yeah. Anyway, right. Let's wrap it up.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for coming. And everybody watching at home, thank you too. And we will catch you next week.
All right. See you later. Bye.